Another state lawmaker said the allegations against him are nonsensical. Courser on his Facebook page on Saturday said the charges are political in nature and have come at a time to take heat off the misconduct of others. He said Michigan Attorney General Bill Schuett charged him with a nonsensical claim of perjury and 3 counts of misconduct under a rarely used and vague catch-all statute. He said none of the charges involved taxpayer funds, though that was used as the reason for the House investigation. Courser resigned in September after he and fellow state representative Cindy Gamrat allegedly attempted to cover up their affair with a bizarre story involving male prostitutes and drugs. A House investigation determined that both state representatives engaged in deceptive, deceitful, and outright dishonest conduct. The investigation accused the two of directing their staff to facilitate their affair and blurring the lines between official and public work. Courser faces 3 charges of misconduct in office and 1 count of perjury. Gamrat, in the same case, faces 2 counts of misconduct in office. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports when the U.S. Supreme Court on Wednesday hears a major abortion case for the first time in nearly a decade, the regulations at issue will not involve fetuses or the mother, but rather standards for doctors and facilities where the procedure is performed. That the High Court is taking up a case about such arcane regulations reflects the success of a legal strategy that abortion opponents embraced about a decade ago and initially caught some abortion rights advocates off guard. Elizabeth Nash, a policy analyst at the Guttmacher Institute, which tracks abortion policy and supports abortion rights, said it took a while to see the impact of the state laws imposing regulations on abortion providers. One of the 2 Texas regulations before the Supreme Court requires doctors who provide abortions to have admitting privileges at a local hospital so they can treat patients needing surgery or other critical care. Another regulation being challenged before the Supreme Court forces clinics to have costly, hospital-grade facilities, mandating a long list of building standards. Unlike the admitting privileges requirement, it has yet to go into effect. Since the Republican-backed law was passed in 2013, many Texas clinics have closed. Abortion providers challenging the Texas law say the Supreme Court should declare it unconstitutional. They contend the law was intended to shutter clinics and make it harder for a woman to end a pregnancy. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
This is the Onion Week in Review. According to friends, colleagues, and complete strangers, anxiety-ridden man Timothy Gibula is rightly ashamed of every single thing he does, with mere acquaintances saying they're constantly judging Gibula at every moment, just as he suspects.
Tim's the kind of guy who's forever second-guessing his behavior, as if everyone's constantly scrutinizing him, and he's completely correct. We all are.
We can spend entire afternoons picking apart Tim's taste in clothing and his receding hairline. It's honestly all we do when he's not around.
Anytime he awkwardly says excuse me when he's waiting in line for milk or sugar, anytime he fails to make eye contact with me when he asks me for the Wi-Fi password, not only do I notice these things, but I use them to judge him fundamentally as a human being.
A 3-alarm fire that tore through a family home in Newark, Delaware early Saturday morning tragically claimed a half sleeve of Oreo cookies that were trapped inside a cupboard. At the time of the blaze, the residence was occupied by Mike and Sheila Donlin, their 3 young children, and 6 delicious chocolate sandwich cookies, all half dozen of which perished in the intense heat and towering flames.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. You're invited to join us here on the radio waves. You can bring up anything that you want, and of course, there's always interesting stuff in the news that is worthy of discussion, so we've brought some of that to the table to talk to you about here tonight. However, it is kind of a special edition of Talk Live here tonight. Our normal Monday night co-host, Darryl, is in the room with us, but he's not on a microphone at the moment. We have reserved, and he's kindly stepped away and reserved his microphone for a special guest. Of course, Rich Paul joining me in here tonight as normal. Hey, Rich.
As normal as ever, I suppose.
Right. It's normal that you're here with us. But what is
It's normal that I'm here, true.
What is unusual is that Sam Dodson is sitting in the studio with us here tonight. Hey, Sam.
Hey, howdy, everybody.
Unfortunately, your voice is, as many probably have already noticed, not in tip-top shape. You've come down with a cold because you now have a daughter who's 2, was it? Nearly 2?
She's 17 months.
She's going to preschool of some sort?
Well, she started daycare a couple weeks ago, and she's bringing home a cold of the week.
What's the difference between daycare and preschool?
Daycare's a little more free for them. They go outside and play. She learned like brushing her teeth one week, and I'm not sure. They try and teach them something neat.
Okay. More fun.
Yeah, more of a fun thing. And we're going to homeschool her after that. So.
But you said being the kids is bringing in germs that previously had not existed, and of course you happen to catch some of it right before you came on the radio with us. So.
Right. We live a solitary life out on the farm, so she's been sick twice up to this point, and now it's 2 weeks in a row.
Wow. So you are medicating with lemon and honey and tea and things like that. And so we'll see how long you can stick with us here. Don't push it. Don't hurt yourself, obviously. But it's great to have you back behind a microphone here on Free Talk Live. Now, for our listeners who don't know, Rich, how would you introduce Sam to someone who has never heard of Sam Dodson before? Because it's been 5 years since he's been here in New Hampshire, and we've got a whole new crew of people that have moved here since then and done various forms of activism. For our listeners, I'll brief our listeners here just to let you know we are Free State Project participants, meaning we've moved here to New Hampshire as part of the Free State Project, the idea of concentrating liberty activists in one place. Sam moved here a long time ago, but how would you, explain who Sam is to someone who's new?
Well, I was first introduced to Sam, there were basically... when I lived in Manchester, I remember you two being the two, probably the two most prolific activists out here. And this is actually coincidentally exactly the lineup we had the first time I was on Free Talk Live.
Is that right?
The night I got arrested. Yeah, it was me and
That's
Sam.
Right. Yeah.
And which was September 26th of 2009.
Which arrest was that? That was for the 420s?
Yeah, that was for the 420 arrest. And
Sam was probably sitting right there too, I would guess.
I think it was pretty close.
Cool. That's a cool little reunion show.
Yeah. So it's good to do it again.
So what you're saying is Sam was on the radar, so to speak.
He was definitely one of the big activists, and I especially appreciate him because he delivered the best coverage of the 420 rally out there. If you look at the playlist on my YouTube about the 420 rally, every video except one comes from Obscured Truth Network.
Yep.
And the reason for that one is actually on the beginning of the other one, which is of us actually smoking weed in the police station. You see at the beginning, you see Sam leaving to go outside right before we lit out, and I'm always yelling, Sam, come back.
So you were at that building, but you weren't in the room when that went down, smoking?
In the
police
station?
Yeah,
No,
this was when Evan was in jail.
Yeah, I think I was there. I was standing next to the local news reporter who was also filming it. And what shocked me is when the news report came out, they made it. They cut the sound from the arrest so you couldn't hear the people shouting, "Let him go! Let him go!"
Wow!
And they just showed him without the crowd in the background, being put into the police car. They never mentioned that we smoked, or not we, but some people went in the police station and smoked in the lobby, even though he was right there and he smelled it too.
Wow!
And they just made it look like, well, just another marijuana arrest today in Keene.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, that I do remember being very disappointed in the news coverage of that. But funny thing is, about 8 people hit that joint, and I know from watching the video who they are. But I think I've met about 20 people now who have told me that they got
they were there.
That fateful joint.
Turned into a townie rumor.
Yeah,
or claim to fame.
But if you want to find out who really hit that joint, go ahead and check out my YouTube account, and there's a playlist.
What is
with
your
all
YouTube account?
I don't even know how to give a URL for it.
Like there's usually like with Free Keene, it's /Free Keene.
Yeah, I don't know the URL for it. I know that if you search for Rich Paul Keene,
maybe you should put it up
or
on
Rich Paul 420, I will come up.
Maybe you should put it up on your website, because I bet you there's a lot of videos that'll have you in them with 420 associated with them. But I agree with you. Sam made some amazing video that's still online. Thank goodness YouTube hasn't decided to pull it offline yet. And you were one of the earliest video producers, not the earliest. Dave Ridley definitely wins the award for earliest and most prolific.
Absolutely.
Sam, you loaded up with fancy video equipment. You had like this big old camera.
Yeah, I did. And Meg was kind of the other half of the equation. Meg McClain,
great graphics pro.
She brought in that. She also taught me really how to edit and produce a professional content, because it's one thing to have the nice equipment. It's another thing to know how to use it. And it's another thing to know how to edit it and really make it shine. And that's where she helped out a lot.
Yeah, and you spent a lot of time and effort putting these videos together, and it shows. I mean, they show as very, very nice-looking footage. The camera, you even had a Steadicam at one point.
Oh, yeah, still have
it. Like a body-mountable camera holding device. Very, very cool stuff. And now you're gone. You left 5 years ago. You made a huge impact, and a lot of the statists have said, "Nah, boo-boo." You know, Sam left, but you've like a lot of people, moved on. There's another chapter in your life that has been written since then. You've gotten married outside of the state, and had a child as well, and you're working on your own farm.
Yep. And I think if say 1% of the people just came up and gave a year or 2 years and dedicated part of their life or a significant portion of their life to bringing about change, to raising awareness, you're talking millions of people. So I'm proud of what I did. I think it sort of helped raise awareness. It brought people to the Free State Project. It got people thinking about things in a different way, and that work still stands out there, and people can go watch it.
One of the first things that you did was what was it called? The Court of Public Opinion or something like that, where you actually recorded a video in Plano, Texas?
Yeah, Richardson. I got 3 tickets in Plano and would record video of my trying to go to court and trying to bring a camera into court. And it was crazy. I mean, they don't let cameras in court. I even called the judge and said, I'm producing a story about videoing in court or something. And the response I got back was the judge never allows cameras in court. But, of course, they have their own recording everything.
Oh, yeah. Now, if you want to talk to Sam, he's here with us till further notice tonight. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You've still been out there. You've been tuning in every now and then. You've called a few times here and there. You haven't completely disappeared from the radar. Although I was worried that you were going to. It sounded like you were going to build an underground bunker and go hide out. But I guess meeting your wife might have helped you kind of change your path.
Actually, it was getting knocked out by a tree and almost killed.
Oh, my gosh.
Kind of changed that. Yeah.
What happened?
I had cut down this 120-foot sweet gum that was rotten in the middle. It didn't go the way I had planned, and it was laying over a brand new barbed wire fence. So I, being kind of new to felling trees, especially big ones like that, I went in and I stepped under a branch and I started cutting over the fence to get it clear out and on the ground. And I didn't notice that it was bowed up against another tree. And when I got halfway through the branch, the trunk was also 4 feet off the ground. And this is like 2,000 pounds of timber. So that branch snapped. The tree gave way and came down. That other branch that I had stepped under glanced me in the back of the head. God. I heard every vertebrae in my back from the top of my head to the bottom of my shoulder blades go.
Oh, my gosh.
And I remember thinking, this is going to hurt. And then I passed out. I woke up.
Did someone find you?
My uncle was out there. He can't walk real well.
Hold that thought. 855-450-FREE. This is Free Talk Live.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. You can buy them through expresscoin.com with a check or money order. There are other ways to get Bitcoin, but that's fast, safe, and easy. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $7.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
Hi, I'm Derek J. I don't want a politician to represent me. To me, government is the idea that one group of people can coerce everyone to comply with an edict or face increasing punishments up to and including death. Despite perhaps the most noble of intentions, the best government services are a far cry from what could be provided for by voluntary interactions. Besides, the people who call themselves the government wage wars and put peaceful people in jail for crimes involving no victims. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com. Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. On Monday, gold is up $10 at $1,234 per ounce. Silver is 10 cents higher at $14.84 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $435 US. Gold had its best month in the past 4 years, and year-to-date is up 17%, which is exactly why you should consider buying silver. Give me a call and I can explain. 800-874-9760 or online at rrbi.co.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Toll-free number tonight if you want to join us, 855-450-FREE. Sam Dodson joining us in studio as our special guest co-host here tonight. And Ian and Rich here as usual. The toll-free number again, 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Austrian economists like Hoppe and Rothbard have adopted in their writings a position against open borders, which is a position that many libertarians take. But David Hathaway's new book, Immigration, Individual versus National Borders, takes apart those arguments against open borders while still supporting the position that an individual property owner has the absolute right to exclude or invite anyone onto their property. You can get your copy of Immigration, Individual versus National Borders through Amazon and get it in either print or Kindle form. So if you want to order it through Amazon, go to shop.freetalklive.com, enter the Amazon links there of your choice, and Free Talk Live will get a small portion when you buy your copy of Immigration, Individual versus National Borders by David Hathaway through Amazon at shop.freetalklive.com. Sam, you were telling us about your tree attack experience where you were trying to cut down a big old tree on the family farm property, I think it was, and things went wrong and cracked vertebrae apparently happened. Or
I heard every vertebrae in my back go right down
as
the
you
middle.
got hit by a branch in the.
I got knocked. Yeah, it kind of glanced the back of my head and jammed it down.
Ugh.
And
that's what you remember before passing out.
Before passing out. Now, my uncle was out there, but he's pretty much handicapped, and he was on the tractor, and he couldn't drag me out. So It's a good thing that I woke up because his plan was to tie a chain around my legs and drag me out with the tractor.
Jesus.
Wow.
Which would probably not have been such a great idea. Yeah. But I woke up, the chainsaw was sitting beside me going,
Y'all don't have cell phones down south?
We do, but I don't carry that when I'm out felling trees.
Yeah, sure.
And it had knocked my safety glasses off behind me, and I think I had a hoodie on, and that was on the ground. I had fallen into the barbed wire fence and cut my leg open a little bit. And he's like, Sam, are you okay? And I said, yeah, just let me lay here for a minute.
Wow.
And it took really a couple months to get my motion back from that.
Huh.
I didn't break anything. It just really kind of messed up my back for a bit. And what I was building is not an underground house like some of the Liberty people make fun of me for, but it's an earth bag house where you use 50 and 100-pound rice bags. You fill them with sand and clay, and then you stack them with barbed wire in between, and you make self-supporting structures or domes.
Oh, really? Okay.
Corbelled domes. And
so it wasn't going to be underground at all?
No, it was above ground, but it had foot-thick walls. So it's a really heavy duty, but it's a one material for the walls, ceiling, and roof.
But you aborted that project?
I aborted that because you're moving a lot of dirt and it takes strength, and it hurt my back to do it. I mean, we put it on hold for a while, and then the wife and kid and family and all that happened.
That'll keep you distracted.
Yeah, and we also, in the process of starting the farm on the family farm, where there's a lot of aunts and uncles that own it, and a dairy farmer that's running cows. It got a little political and family drama and so forth. So we just decided to buy our own place, and so it has since been bulldozed, unfortunately.
So you're back in New Hampshire for the next 24 hours or so, 36 hours, and you'll be heading back to Texas soon. But when you came here, we didn't really know how long you were going to have to stay, because you came back to face a criminal charge that you received back in 2010. Now, longtime listeners of the show may recall that, Sam, you and I were arrested at the City Council chambers here in Keene that year. It's the same year, Rich, you and I were arrested for standing in front of a police cruiser when they attempted to...
I was still being held pending $5,000 bail.
On that charge, on that particular incident?
Yeah, on the charge where we got arrested together.
So, so Sam, you and I both got arrested while I was out on a suspended sentence or whatever it was, or I was out on bail conditions, actually. I didn't get my trial until the next year. But, and so they basically arrested me again. I got arrested 3 times in that 1 year time frame. And one of them was this drinking game that we did, where you made a post. It's still there at freekeen.com, so anyone who goes back and looks through Sam's old articles, search for drinking game, you'll probably find anything related. The idea was to make city council meetings more fun, right? Because they're just dreadfully boring.
And we had also jumped through their hoops to ask them to repeal the ban on open containers in Keene.
Did we do that before that? Okay.
We did that before, and they kind of took us through the dog and pony show and then said, yeah, no. And so we came up with a drinking game as kind of a fun game to make the meeting exciting, and also to kind of snub them a little bit as well.
Yeah, the idea, of course, being that there are towns and cities where open container is legal. Savannah, Georgia is one of the more noteworthy ones, where you can walk around downtown with an open beer, and it's not a problem.
Yep,
New Orleans, Louisiana is another one.
Is it like that all year long in New Orleans? I didn't know that.
I know it's like that in Mardi Gras. I'm pretty sure that there are parts... I think it's more widespread during Mardi Gras, but I think there are places where you can do it all year round.
Yeah, I've been down there outside of Mardi Gras, and we've walked around the streets with containers.
And everything's okay. So, this was the pitch that we made to the city council, and they didn't want to hear about it because it's good revenue for the city. They bust these college kids all the time for open container. It's just one after another. They're walking from house to house, one party to another party. They're carrying whatever drink they had at the first party to the second party, and the police on bicycles or whatever, they catch them. They got a flashlight out there, and they zero in on somebody with an open container. They come up and they demand the drink be handed over, even though you're certainly, if the container is closed but openable, you have no obligation to hand over your beverage to that officer. And you could argue that even if it was an open container, you don't have an obligation to hand it over unless it was something immediately identifiable as alcohol, meaning that if there was, and this isn't legal advice, but if there was a label on the beer that said Busch beer and you were, walking around with it open, that would be enough probable cause for the police to go ahead and conduct a search. But in the case of you and I, Sam, we had brown bottles that you had taken the time to scrape. I don't know if I helped you with this part, but you scraped off the labels from the brown bottles. You kept the caps intact to where they could be re-screwed back onto the bottle. And you filled and you created a new label, which people can actually see on the original blog post that you made, that says "Not a beer." Now, beer was in larger print than "not a," but it was pretty clear it said "not a beer" on it. You printed those labels out, and we attached the labels to the bottles and then filled them with water. You got a cooler. We put some ice in there, put these bottles into the cooler, and then took the cooler, and you and I and a couple other folks, to the city council meeting that night after you had actually posted the rules for the drinking game in advance. Yeah. So they knew we were coming. This wasn't a surprise.
We also printed out the statute of what constituted an alcoholic beverage, dropped one at all the city councilors' desks so they could see it, offered one to the police chief, and he didn't want to see it. But it basically says, it has to be greater than 0.5% of alcohol at 60 degrees and to be considered an alcoholic beverage.
Oh, wow. I didn't remember the temperature reading. So we cracked open the beers, the not-a beers, and began to consume them based on the rules of the drinking game, which included drinking from your drink if the city council voted unanimously. That was one of the rules. There were 8 rules, or 7 or 8 rules. And we'll continue with a bit of a recap, because why is Sam Dodson back in our studio with us here tonight? What was he doing in Keene that has to do with all this? We'll give you the details and what happened this morning. It's Free Talk Live.
You've heard Infidel body armor ads for years. You've thought about investing in body armor, but just haven't found the time. Stop. Now is the time. You want the industry leader. You need a proven product. Go to InfidelBodyArmor.com. Products made in the USA designed to protect Americans. We make armor easy to understand and easy to purchase. InfidelBodyArmor.com. Get yours before time runs out.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
Are you getting squeezed by the economic downturn? Hey, you were doing fine. Then, all of a sudden, you're having a tough time paying your family's credit card bills. Maybe you were downsized or even lost a job, but you still owe 10 grand or more in credit card bills. And you just can't afford the minimum payments anymore. We're here to help. We are the Genesis Debt Partners. We know the secrets to negotiate better terms with your creditors. Make a free 10-minute call right now and learn how we can help you get out of debt. 800-981-7590. If you owe 10 grand or more in credit card debt and you want to learn how you can pay less and get out of debt faster, call right now. 800-981-7590. 800-981-7590. Get out of debt now. 800-981-7590.
Liberty activists around the country are starting to realize politics alone won't set us free. So what will? At Liberty on the Rocks, we believe the answer starts with living your principles, spreading ideas, and connecting with those around you. By starting a Liberty on the Rocks network, you can make a difference by uniting libertarian thinkers. Find out how much fun it is to build your local network from the ground up. Visit libertyontherocks.org today to get started.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love. But make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
Looking for an excuse to come check out New Hampshire's liberty activism scene this fall? You're invited to Keenvention. Keenvention is your chance to meet dozens of key liberty activists from across the Shire. You can explore the beautiful little city of Keene, discuss various forms of activism with seasoned veterans, have fun at social events like the Hallow Keene costume dance party, and learn about making the move. Keenvention received rave reviews last year. If you missed it, visit keenvention.info for full video coverage of every speaker and panel. Join old and new friends and neighbors in Keene for Keenvention this November 4th through November 6th. Tickets are available now for a special pre-order price of just $50 via credit card or Bitcoin. However, only 100 pre-order tickets are available, so reserve your tickets now at keenvention.info. Visit keenvention.info for more, or look for our page and event on Facebook. That's keenvention.info.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You may join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. We've got a website. You can go there. You can get interactive. There's a lot of features waiting for you over at freetalklive.com. And if you want to learn more about the Free State Project and why New Hampshire is the destination for people who love the ideas of freedom, and even though, Sam, you have moved back to Texas, I don't think you would say that's not the case, right? Like, this is the destination for people.
Oh, there's some amazing stuff going on here that's, like, really impressive to see.
And you actually mentioned to me off the air that you're considering maybe getting a second home in New Hampshire someday. Maybe
down the road,
maybe
possibly.
snowbirding it up.
Yeah,
up
that
here.
might be nice.
That would rock.
Yeah, would love to have you back, obviously, and bring the family with you. You said your wife's on board with a lot of the ideas of freedom, so that sounds really awesome. She wasn't able to come up with you for this particular visit because it wasn't really a family visit to New Hampshire. You're not back here for warm-hearted, loving family reasons. You're here to avoid violence being inflicted on your family, basically, because you left here back when we were arrested for the drinking game. Now, we were explaining this a moment ago. I do want to let people know, though, if they want to learn more about the Free State Project, they can go to freestateproject.org. But more importantly, go to the 101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire. Now, since you've left, Sam, there have been some really great videos produced here in New Hampshire. This is one of them. 101reasonsfilm.com is an awesome hour-long documentary film that covers literally in an hour 101 reasons why New Hampshire is the destination for people who love liberty. So don't miss it. It's free to watch online. There's really no reason not to check this out. If you love freedom, you owe it to yourself to block off an hour of time or a couple half hours because it's a lot to take in one sitting. 101reasonsfilm.com. You can go there. You can watch it for free. But it's actually been a while since I've pulled up the drinking game rules. What were the triggers for having a drink at the city council meeting back in August of 2010, which is when you and I were both arrested, Sam, for engaging in this what should not have been civil disobedience, as we were drinking water from brown bottles. So it's not like there's drinks prohibited from the city council chambers. The councilors are frequently seen imbibing from bottles of who knows what. And no one's checking the city councilors' bottles on a regular. You know, the police are not going around demanding the city councilors hand over their bottles for inspection, but they sure as hell came up to us and demanded that we hand over our bottles for inspection, which we refused to do. But let me briefly give the rules, because someone might want to play this game at home. If you are actually in city council chambers with alcohol, you will be quite drunk if you play this particular game. So I do recommend playing this one at home. Number one, all participants will drink when there's a call to order. Number two, a bureaucrat claims to do something as the city of Keene. Now, you fill in your city where you live if you want to play at home. Number three, everyone stands up. Number 4, the city council votes for violence, which is almost every vote that they take. Number 5, a vote is unanimous, which is almost every vote that they take. Number 6, a council member says the phrase master plan. Number 7.
That was when Keene was doing the master plan, and that was the big buzzword.
Oh, wow.
They still have that thing. Number 7, they plan to do something, quote, for the children. Quote. And then the list jumps from 7 to 9 here. Apparently we never caught that error. Number 9, 8, whatever, raise your glasses, drinking not needed if someone suggests rolling back the size, scope, or enforcement power of the government, i.e. supports more liberty and freedom, which hardly ever happens. Certainly someone on the council doesn't ever suggest those things. Maybe people in the audience might. So we went in, we had those that list printed out or whatever, and we had our Nada beers. These were beer bottles that had been emptied out, filled with water, and we began drinking. It was about 10 minutes into the scene after they had given some Lifetime Achievement Award to one of their bureaucrats who was retiring when the mayor at the time stops the meeting. And I forget what he said, but it's on video for anyone who wants to review this. He made some sort of generic statement to the entire audience. He was like, not really even looking at us when he said it. He just sort of
was reading off a piece of paper that he had
It was a
prepared.
prepared statement, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he just uttered this statement about how, you shall not drink from, I forget what the hell he said, but it was clearly targeted at us, even though it was stated very generally about you need to, empty your bottles or put them away or something like that. And we didn't. And so then he ordered the police chief to come over and confiscate our bottles from us. We said a few words back to him as well after he talked to the audience and literally stopped the entire meeting. Everything was going fine. They could have had their whole meeting and left us alone. But no, they wanted to, crack down and make a statement. And
maybe they didn't want to see what you were going to do when you were drunk.
So then the police chief at the time, it's a different police chief nowadays, but this police chief at the time came over and he grabbed, I don't remember if it was you or I, or actually he had an associate, he had an officer with him. And I remember the police chief specifically grabbing for my bottle, and I grabbed it and I held it away from him because I didn't want him to take it from me. And I said, I don't consent to a search. And he said, well, you better consent to a search or else you're going to get kicked out of you have to leave the meeting. And I said, well, I'm not leaving the meeting. It's a public meeting, and I'm going to, sit here and enjoy my adult beverage or my beverage. I don't remember exactly what I said, but it was not alcoholic, and I would not consent to the search, and I presume you did the same thing, Sam.
I did, yeah. And we had the bottle caps on.
That's right.
And he went and opened those, which it's a closed container when he gets it, and he needs a warrant to do that and didn't have it.
Right, and he had us arrested pretty quickly for disorderly conduct charges. I must have bailed out or something like that night. I don't remember.
We all did.
Yeah, and ultimately faced down those charges in court. I was on bail conditions for a year prior to them finally dropping the charge one day before trial. But Sam, that in theory would have happened to you as well had you stayed in New Hampshire, but you left before, I believe, your arraignment. And ultimately, there was a failure to appear put in, a bench warrant put out for your arrest, and you'd left town. You'd gone back to Texas at that point, as we discussed earlier. So you never followed up on any of that stuff. You just sort of let it sit.
For 5 years.
For 5 years until actually a couple years later, you were trying to renew driver's license? What happened?
Yeah, my driver's license expired in 2012.
Texas driver's license.
And they put an electronic lock on it so it couldn't be renewed. So
was it because they were able to detect in their system
the failure to appear?
The warrant, basically?
I guess New Hampshire has joined into some kind of agreement with Texas to share that data.
Right. And so they spotted that and they said, well, we can't renew your driver's license. Yeah, we can't renew your driver's license until you go get this cleared up in New Hampshire. And so you then began the process of trying to negotiate with the Keene Police Department at some point to make this go away, right?
Yeah, I asked them to drop the charges. They kind of laughed and mocked me, the first prosecutor. The second one was a little more honest and forthcoming. She sent the police report. I pointed out all the contradictions within the report because they claimed these were alcoholic beverages.
No proof of that.
Yeah, and, she ignored everything that I put together. And
yeah, you sent me those emails. They were fairly lengthy. I mean, you took some time to really write to her and explain to her what happened. I don't think she was in charge of prosecuting at that time, so she might not have been even familiar with the case at all.
Right. Yeah. No, she reviewed it and so forth, but I kind of pointed out time codes in the video where you can see specific things happening that aren't really above board. And I think what they did is really shameful. I mean, we went out of our way to make sure that we weren't actually breaking any laws, that we were doing a valid protest at the city council where they're, meant to be if it's not a disruptive thing. It really wasn't. And
they disrupted their own meeting.
Yeah, and instead of protecting our right to do that, they attacked us for it.
Right, and the prosecutor wasn't hearing it. She basically ignored you.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, she told you over the phone what her plea deal offer would be. And even though you wanted to take it to a trial and go to a jury, you've got family obligations, and that kind of gets in the way, right? That makes that kind of activism a little bit more difficult. Even if your wife could understand where you were coming from, it's a burden to have to just be by yourself and take care of one child, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like she'd prefer to have you around the house.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you decided, I'm sure reluctantly and with difficulty, to take a plea deal.
I did. I still had an objection to paying the court because if I do, they're going to take that money and turn around and use it to harm others.
So you knew that even if you didn't pay the fine, you might go to jail today because that's what happens when you don't pay fines. We'll tell you what happened coming up.
This is a life-changing message for anyone with sleep apnea who is on the go and tired of dragging around a big, bulky home CPAP device. MiniCPAP.com now offers a portable device that's as small as a soda can and weighs less than a pound. For even more freedom, you can add a battery that's as tiny as a deck of cards. It's called the Transcend Mini CPAP, and right now you can try it risk-free for 10 days by calling 1-800-945-9289. Transcend is the world's first portable mini CPAP device. It gives you the freedom to sleep in total comfort anywhere you are. Our smallest and most advanced portable design ever, Transcend is so small and so light you can fit it in your briefcase or purse to use anywhere you go. It's FAA compliant too, so you can even sleep comfortably while flying. Enjoy the freedom to sleep comfortably anywhere. Call minicpap.com now for your 10-day at-home trial. 1-800-945-9289. That's 1-800-945-9289.
Hi, this is Dr. Joel Wallach, the Mineral Doctor. You've heard me talk about 90 for Life for years. 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, 2 fatty acids. You may not know this, that I've actually designed Arthrodex for animals. That's right. Your pets need 90 for Life, too. Get this essential pet product by calling 877-279-9422. That's 877-279-9422. Again, 877-279-9422.
Ted Anderson telling you about Jordan Rubin's Beyond Organic Green-Fed Raw Cheddar Artesian Cheese featuring whole milk created through ancient dairy breeding, unpasteurized, untreated whole milk on the same farm the cows graze, containing natural sources of omega-3s, CLA protein, calcium, probiotics, and enzymes. I have never tasted cheese this good, and you need to try it. Contact your longevity distributor or call 877-878-4203 or go to gcnteam.com.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
You can listen to Free Talk Live on the radio, podcast, satellite, webcam, and our live streams. But did you know you can listen to Free Talk Live from any phone, anywhere? Add this number to your phone, 213-493-0308. It's a long-distance call, so make sure you're familiar with your phone's calling plan. The Listen lines are airing the latest episode of Free Talk Live 24 hours a day, including our live shows. Call 213-493-0308. That's 213-493-0308.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You're invited to join us here toll-free. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We're taking you back in time to 5 years ago, actually, just a little bit less, actually a little more than 5 years ago, when Sam Dodson joining us here tonight, and Ian Rich in the studio. Sam, you were arrested along with me and another activist in the area for conducting a drinking game, having too much fun at a city council meeting.
Not taking them seriously.
Right. And they ended up charging us with disorderly conduct, their favorite catch-all charge that they just love to attach to activists when they don't actually have any real reason to arrest you for something. They hit you with disorderly conduct. It's a tough one to beat. It is a tough one to beat. In my case, I beat it because I was willing to go to trial, and they dropped the charge right before trial. In your case, Sam, you never made it past the arraignment because you left town beforehand, and so they put out a bench warrant for your arrest, which gummed up your renewal of your Texas driver's license a couple of years later, which then resulted in you having to come back here to New Hampshire, here now in 2016, and face down these criminal charges, which strangely you discovered this morning when you went to Keene District Court that there were 3 disorderly conduct charges, not 1 disorderly conduct charge. That was a surprise.
And that was the first time that had ever come up.
Have you ever heard of the term she used this morning, alternative theories?
No.
This is a new thing for me. I only have encountered it once, and I've paid attention to a lot of criminal charges over the years of my friends, my activist friends who've faced down whatever various different charges over the years, and I've only ever encountered this one other time, and I believe it was James Cleveland's case where they filed these competing or alternative theories. And basically what it is when they do this, it's the police admitting they don't really know what happened. But so they're going to file 3 different versions.
Yeah, different scenarios, basically.
Exactly.
So
Of
if
the
this
same
doesn't
incident.
work, then this is the way it went. But if that doesn't work, then it went this way.
We're not sure which way it went, but we'll leave it to the judge to decide. I mean, that's literally what these are.
Which is
Wow.
It's very strange legal thinking because, you know, basically what you're saying is that we, the prosecution, have a reasonable doubt about each and every one of these theories, but we're hoping you'll mix them all up in your mind so much that you don't really understand what you're being asked to determine.
That's an excellent way to really view what these are. They're reasonable doubt for each single
That's
every one
how
of them.
I would argue it as a defense attorney. And, you know, when they're trumping up charges like this, I don't know if it's too late, but there have been a lot of corrupt small towns in the South, especially during the civil rights era of the South, when the same sort of tactics and much worse were used against protesters. That is a place where actually utilizing the federal courts can be useful. And
Sure.
I don't like the idea of the federal courts being superior to the state courts. I kind of look at it as the other way around mostly.
Every now and then, though, the feds will get it right when the states won't.
And personally, I've always thought that if there is any purpose to having 2 levels of government, it should be to task each of those levels of government with protecting you against the other. So that, you know, if the federal government is doing wrong, the state government should stand up and say, no, that's our citizen and you can't do that. But if the state government is doing wrong, then the federal government at least has a role in standing up and saying, hey, you can't do that.
Every now and then
sometimes they're good about it.
Right.
There's a charge that I heard a lot about when I was in jail from an attorney called abuse of process. and abuse of process.
This was the attorney that you were in jail with, right?
Yes, he was in jail with me. So take his, I think he was a kitty toucher, but that doesn't mean he was a bad lawyer. I think a lot of good lawyers are.
Kitty touchers?
So, yes. So so anyway, he was telling me about this, this misuse of process idea where if somebody brings charges against you, for example, down south, there was a pattern of bringing charges against activists for spitting on the sidewalk. Well, nobody had been charged with spitting on the sidewalk for 20 years previous to the spate of charges against people who just happen to be civil rights activists, just like we are. And so they brought
just because they didn't have a charge of you're on the sidewalk while black.
Exactly. So they'd see somebody spit on the sidewalk,
or
and
claim
maybe they really
it.
do it, or maybe they'd trump up the charge. But they charge somebody with something that wasn't normally chargeable under normal procedure for them. And civil cases were brought in federal court in some of these cases, and damages returned. And I'll tell you, I can't imagine a better way to strike back at government than A, taking their money, which is their power, and B, having their money as your own. Because when you take a weapon from your enemy, not only do they not have it, but you do. So I would really encourage you guys to, look into seeing if any recourse like that might be possible against some of these really ludicrous arrests that were going on back in, say, the heyday of civil disobedience in Keene.
Well, so my plan today was I had three options that I saw. One, they wanted their fine.
$350.
Yeah, and my preferred plan was just to pay that to a local charity. If that didn't work, we were going to try community service, and if that didn't work, then I was just going to sit it out in jail.
Yes, but you were not going to pay the fine to the courts.
Yeah, because, if the state gets it, they're going to turn around and use it to hurt somebody else.
Exactly.
It's like handing a weapon to a psychopath.
Yeah, of all the times I've gone to court for various different civil disobedience episodes, I've not once ever paid them a dime. I've always managed to either do community service or give money to a local charity, and that's been it for me. And so I've had good success, and you had great success this morning, Sam. I was surprised at what happened today.
Yeah, me too.
I didn't know how it was going to go. I didn't know if this was going to be a showdown with Burke, if he was going to, come after you in some way, but it seemed like he just wanted to move this along and get you out of there and be done with the case. That's sort of the attitude that I got from him today. But what the real win was, and this is on video, so at some point I'll post it. It's not particularly time sensitive, so I'll get to it. I've got a load of backlogged stuff to do. But you'll be able to see this when it's available at freekeene.com. But basically, it's a relatively short hearing. You got up there, and they, okay, you're going to take this plea. You agree with the plea deal. You waive your rights. Yes. Here's the fine. There's a portion of it that goes to the court for an administrative fee, and then there's the chunk of the fine. So it was like $300 and then another $50 on top for a fee on top of the fine. And what was really surprising to me was that Judge Burke, who has been the judge the whole time. He's the same judge who put you in jail for 58 days.
Same judge that I got on the bullhorn and yelled at outside of his courtroom while I was in there.
And you went to jail for 58 days because this judge, you wouldn't give him your name years ago, and that's what your initial encounter with him. He allowed you to pay the fine to a charity. And that's not particular news because it's happened before. Other activists, including me, have done this, have paid fines to charity, bring the receipt from the fine into the court and, submit it to them, and here's the proof. If fine's paid, case closed. But what was different today was Judge Burke accepted your payment offer in open court in front of other people. And I've never seen that happen before. Because in the times I've ever had to ask, I've ever asked Burke for this, and I've gotten it from more than just Burke, so it's happened at other courtrooms as well. But the times I've asked Burke to do this, he's always denied me in open court. When I make a verbal motion in front of the court, well, can I pay this to charity? No, you can't do that. Okay, well, then I write the motion down on a piece of paper, and I submit it to the court, and then it gets approved. So what that had told me previously was that Burke will not approve this orally. He will not let the courtroom in on this option, this secret option that exists, that you're not presented with this when they tell you you got to pay a fine or community service. They don't say, or you can pay the fine to a local charity. But
so you're
can't.
telling us that today Burke did oral for the first time.
Yes, and it went very well. I was very pleased with.
I feel like it was a
Burke's
win-win
performance. Yeah, I mean, you still lost $300 and something
I did,
dollars, but
it's resolved and it helped the community.
$50 of it did go to the court. You were willing to break on a portion of it going to the court just to make this a done deal, just to get it over with. But the vast majority is actually going to the 100 Nights Homeless Shelter. We went there directly afterwards. You got the receipt, you gave him cash, got the receipt, went back to the court, and closed the case.
That's right.
So congratulations, Sam. That was a huge win because Burke had never allowed that in open court before, and today he did for the first time. And this was after he'd already written some sort of order couple years ago saying he would never allow fines to be paid to charity, that there was some sort of state rule that had been put in. But I always wondered if that was a true claim, and today he proved that he can do whatever he wants. It's Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phone, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com. Currency is too important a thing to be left in the hands of government bureaucrats, especially when billions of dollars can be created with the swipe of a pen. Overstock.com supports the cryptocurrency movement because it returns the power of an inflation-proof form of money to the people where it belongs. Did you know that you can use Bitcoin to pay for anything Overstock.com sells while enjoying free shipping on orders of 0.211 Bitcoin or more? If you support freedom and the cryptocurrency movement, you should support Overstock.com.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Nesquik. Try Nesquik 4-packs, perfect for lunches and great for kids on the go. Look for it in the juice aisle. Snack time is a great chance to sneak extra calcium into your child's diet without making him feel like he's eating something he doesn't want. Serve up dairy-rich foods like smoothies, flavored milk, frozen yogurt, and string cheese. He'll love the treat, and you'll love knowing how good it is for him. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
Did you know that you can listen to and watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cam at cam.freetalklive.com? Not only that, but you can also chat with other listeners at the same time. Do I need to mention that both the studio cam and chat room are totally free? Outside of Free Talk Live's live hours, you won't see a cam feed, but will hear audio from the Liberty Radio Network. So listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Temporarily from the Gulf Coast in Biloxi, Mississippi, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Monday, February 29th, 2016. Silver is trading at $14.72 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,226 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $439. Antiwar.com reports the full results of Iran's election for its 290-seat parliament still aren't in, but the results from the capital city of Tehran show a dominant performance by the reformist candidates, who won all 30 seats in the capital in an embarrassing loss for the hardliners. The reformists were expected to do well, with the reformist Rouhani government campaigning heavily on its success in securing sanctions relief with a nuclear deal, something the hardliners opposed every step of the way. Despite the early results showing the reformists dominating, analysts still say they don't expect anyone to secure a 146-seat majority in the parliament. There is also a vote on the 88-seat Assembly of Experts, which would be in charge of appointing a successor to the supreme leader, important as Ayatollah Ali Khamenei is in poor health. A better-than-expected performance among reformists could further speed international rapprochement for Iran, with several nations already eager to expand trade ties and certain to embrace a government looking to open Iran to the rest of the world. Are you an advocate for free market money? Do you promote Bitcoin as an alternative in a fiat-centric world? Then you need Spend a Bit in your arsenal, the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spend a Bit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Visit spendabit.co today. Bitcoin merchants, ask about our merchant suite to reach even more customers. Spendabit.co. UPI reports disgraced former Michigan State Representative Todd Courser just a day after he was hit with felony misconduct charges related to an extramarital affair with another state lawmaker, said the allegations against him are nonsensical. Courser on his Facebook page on Saturday said the charges are political in nature and have come at a time to take heat off the misconduct of others. He said Michigan Attorney General Bill Schuett charged him with a nonsensical claim of perjury and 3 counts of misconduct under a rarely used and vague catch-all statute. He said none of the charges involved taxpayer funds, though that was used as the reason for the House investigation. Courser resigned in September after he and fellow state representative Cindy Gamrat allegedly attempted to cover up their affair with a bizarre story involving male prostitutes and drugs. A House investigation determined that both state representatives engaged in deceptive, deceitful, and outright dishonest conduct. The investigation accused the two of directing their staff to facilitate their affair and blurring the lines between official and public work. Courser faces 3 charges of misconduct in office and 1 count of perjury. Gamrat, in the same case, faces 2 counts of misconduct in office. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports when the U.S. Supreme Court on Wednesday hears a major abortion case for the first time in nearly a decade, the regulations at issue will not involve fetuses or the mother, but rather standards for doctors and facilities where the procedure is performed. That the High Court is taking up a case about such arcane regulations reflects the success of a legal strategy that abortion opponents embraced about a decade ago and initially caught some abortion rights advocates off guard. Elizabeth Nash, a policy analyst at the Guttmacher Institute, which tracks abortion policy and supports abortion rights, said it took a while to see the impact of the state laws imposing regulations on abortion providers. One of the 2 Texas regulations before the Supreme Court requires doctors who provide abortions to have admitting privileges at a local hospital so they can treat patients needing surgery or other critical care. Another regulation being challenged before the Supreme Court forces clinics to have costly, hospital-grade facilities, mandating a long list of building standards. Unlike the admitting privileges requirement, it has yet to go into effect. Since the Republican-backed law was passed in 2013, many Texas clinics have closed. Abortion providers challenging the Texas law say the Supreme Court should declare it unconstitutional. They contend the law was intended to shutter clinics and make it harder for a woman to end a pregnancy. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Is your child defiant, independent, annoyingly inquisitive? After a long, hard day of following the rules, who wants to deal with troublesome kids? 49% of children suffer from oppositional defiant disorder, or ODD. Symptoms of ODD include independent thought, rampant creativity, and failure to submit to authority. But now there's a solution. The good people at Pilfer can help you with their time-release, once-daily capsule, Compliacin. Your child won't be able to form his own opinions, let alone express them. It maintains your child's ability to go to a state-run school and perform simple tasks around the house. You won't have to worry about parenting, and the school won't have to deal with your kid asking questions. Compliacin. You'll go from this.
Quit telling me what to do! Quit telling me what to do! Quit telling me what to do!
To this.
Good morning, Mother. I love going to school. And this week we're learning all about how the government is our federal family and they're here to help us.
Compliacin. Talk to your school psychiatrist and ask for it by name.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. You're invited to join us if you would like. Well, there's a lot, of course, as always, to talk about here tonight. Joining you in studio, you've got me, Ian.
Rich Paul.
And Darryl.
And Sam Dodson, who was here with us for the first hour of the show, has taken a back seat. He's, again, not feeling particularly well in the voice. So it was a little painful, I think, to be on as long as he was. So thank you to Sam for coming in tonight and joining us here for a little recap. Now, Darryl, you're still a relatively new mover here to New Hampshire. Rich was here during Sam's tenure, but I believe you came afterwards.
I did. I don't know exactly when Sam left, but I believe it was okay. So it was about a year before I got here. I was thinking it was just a couple of months.
And you've been pretty active as well, doing a lot of media stuff here, Darryl. In fact, you just got back from a big weekend.
Yes.
In the South. You were down in, was it Mississippi?
Biloxi, Mississippi. I flew into New Orleans because it was cheaper than flying into Gulfport.
Mm-hmm.
And
you went to a Libertarian Party convention.
It was actually a dual convention.
Right.
So the Libertarian parties of Alabama and Mississippi jointly held the convention.
Does that mean there are twice the bylaw nonsense at the dual convention?
So they had, each state had their own party business that...
Was it held simultaneous?
Was not held simultaneous.
Okay.
Was held, not necessarily back-to-back, but one party held theirs. And then a little while later, the other party held theirs.
I see.
And neither one was too terribly long. And
that's good. Those can be the most gruesome portions of actually attending these things.
There was one part that was somewhat contentious during the election of officers for the Mississippi party because one of my friends, let's say that she's not too well liked by some of the people in the party because she's rather outspoken.
Okay.
And so a couple of the elections, she nominated herself for positions, which are perfectly allowed within the bylaws.
Yep.
And then someone quickly was nominated to oppose her, and all three times that she ran for a seat, she was defeated 11-8.
Okay.
But one of the people who... shall we say, does not like her, had previously asked her to resign from the party and basically made being in the party not pleasant for her, so she left the party. And then she came back after this guy settled down, and so at the convention he said, she shouldn't even be here because she's resigned. Well, she has joined again, so shut up.
These internal party politics can be pretty frustrating, and it's one of the reasons why a lot of people are turned off by political action and party politics in general, because even within this tiny party, I mean, the Libertarian Party isn't exactly a behemoth in politics. Even within this party, this relatively small party, there's all kinds of fighting, this internal strife between various different characters within the political party who hold relatively no power.
You've got basically a group of fierce individualists, and some of them decide that they want to be the leader of the individualists. They want to be the big fish in the small pond, and they're going to do everything they can to eat up the little fish.
Including backstabbing and what you would expect from politicians.
Right. But, of course, the party business was not the primary focus of this convention.
That's not the reason you went either.
Correct.
You went because you're a candidate for president.
Yes, and there was a debate. It was billed as the first real debate. There had been a couple of others, but this was the first one that had more than a handful of the candidates.
There were, 10 or 11 people there?
There are 12 candidates that are running. Well,
does that include Vermin Supreme?
No, because he just announced today, so I can't count somebody today that wasn't running on Friday.
Okay, well, he said 12 candidates who are running, and he just announced.
Is that in the bylaws?
So anyway, at the time of the convention, there were 12, and according to the LP, website, they're still recognizing 12 candidates seeking the nomination.
Mm-hmm.
10 of those that are recognized by the party were there.
Okay. Good turnout.
One of the candidates that was recognized had announced that he would not be able to be there because of medical reasons. Another candidate said that she would not be able to attend because of financial
But this was
reasons.
the biggest turnout in one place for all of the candidates.
Correct. And then there was a guy that nobody has any idea who he really is, but he apparently told the organizers, I'm a candidate, and since this other guy didn't show up, can I be on stage too? And so they threw this guy up on stage. If you watch the video or look at the pictures, you will notice that 10 of the candidates have very nice banners in front of their podium.
with, like,
that's
your
got
name
the
on
name, and it's got the party logo, and then it says Libertarian at the bottom.
Right.
And then there's this guy. And if you don't know what's going on, you would think that guy's the moderator. But that
Just
guy
'cause
was
he's-
not the moderator. He was one of the candidates that the organizers... And the organizers have actually publicly posted that, in hindsight, they should not have let him on.
Was he that embarrassing? Like, there's some people out there that...
But from, the
Some of these
visual
candidates.
appeal sort of
I
thing.
see. It looked bad.
You've got one guy up there without a banner and everybody else has one. And at the same time, it'd be almost like if, I don't know, somebody just jumped into the Republican Party on the day that they were having a debate. And, well, somebody couldn't make it because their plane got canceled. So, yeah, you come on, but we don't have a podium
We don't know
for
who you are.
So here's a wooden podium. Everybody else has the fancy one.
No one here knows who you are, but welcome.
So from an aesthetic feel.
Yeah.
It looked bad. And then there were problems, apparently, with the live streaming to where it was basically
not pretty.
whitewashed.
Yeah, it was not a pretty picture on the live stream, but you said somebody was there recording kind of a professional
That's
version.
what I have heard.
Yeah.
I don't know when that video is going to be available.
Hopefully sooner rather than later. There's been a lot of buzz about this within the libertarian community over the last 24 to 48 hours.
Yes.
And there's a poll that's been put up with all the different candidates' names in them as far as who won this debate or who's the best candidate. And you were winning the poll the last time I looked at it. I know you've certainly got the support of a lot of Free Staters and others within the Libertarian Party.
Yes.
I mean, anybody who is disturbed with the party's loss of principle over the years, I think would back Darryl, would back your campaign. Because there's really, I mean, I didn't watch the whole debate, so I don't know for sure.
Right,
But
because
give me
you
your
were
honest-
on the radio.
Right, give me your honest assessment of the other 9 candidates on the stage. How many of them can hold a candle to you as far as explaining the ideas of liberty from a principled standpoint? We know we've got the unprincipled people up there who are just there because they're popular, like Gary Johnson, maybe John McAfee. I'm not sure what his principles are. He seems kind of a question mark to me. But, there's a bunch of no-name people that no one's ever heard of. Is there somebody up there who you think is, this guy's a principled libertarian? I actually am concerned that, he's a threat to me winning this nomination.
No.
So you've got it. You've got this thing locked down.
I don't think I have it locked down.
As far as
but
principles are concerned.
Right. As far as principles are
We know
concerned.
the Libertarian Party doesn't like picking principled candidates
Right.
since 2008.
I will say this, that I am by far and away the most principled candidate running, and that was acknowledged by a lot of people that were in attendance.
It was even acknowledged,
including one of the candidates who mentioned to me privately during the break after the first round, while they were having the straw poll vote to determine which 5 candidates would go to the second round. One of the candidates walked over to me and said, "Thank you for being the libertarian voice on stage."
Wow. Maybe he voted for you.
No, the candidates didn't get to vote.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it's a good voice to have on stage, but frankly, I think it's better for the party and the philosophy to have a Gary Johnson who has obviously he's had a very broad appeal in New Mexico enough
I
to get him
totally
elected,
disagree, but we'll get into
governor
it,
there.
Rich. And this is going to kind of harken back to our conversation
well, this is
about Rand Paul
Part 2.
Yeah. So stand by. We'll continue that discussion. I think it's you're wrong on both parts. It's not good for the party, and it's not good for the philosophy to have an unprincipled person representing the ideas of liberty. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Join us on Free Talk Live.
Imagine your life 5 years from now. Are you on the path you want to be on? It's time to take control of your future by getting a world-class education from one of the nation's top universities. Arizona State University is now offering over 100 top-tier degree programs 100% online. It's the exact same degree our on-campus students receive, but you can learn from anywhere in the country on your own schedule. For information, call 1-800-939-9426. Learn from ASU's world-renowned faculty and use ASU's global recognition to improve your visibility, professional network, and gain real-world experience you can start using today. The Wall Street Journal ranked ASU 5th in the nation for producing the best qualified graduates. Now discover how ASU Online can stand out on your resume and help separate you from the competition. We're ready to help you learn to thrive in your life, in your career, and beyond. To learn more about ASU Online degrees, call 1-800-939-9426. That's 1-800-939-9426.
Are you sneezing, coughing, and aching? Do you have a sore throat, a fever, or the sniffles? There's no reason to be sick this cold and flu season with immune system support from Supernatural Silver. Supernatural Silver can give your body the help it needs to fight off harmful pathogens without hurting beneficial gut flora and without leaving behind resistant bacteria. Antibiotics can damage good microflora and often leave behind bacteria which can cause problems later on. If you're sick of being sick, try Supernatural Silver. Supernatural Silver, the #1 choice of thousands for a safe and effective way to protect against the many diseases and illnesses that we are facing today. Go to supernaturalsilver.com, read our customer reviews, and see the life-changing results that people are having. That's supernaturalsilver.com. Supernaturalsilver.com. Use the promo code PROTECTED for 20% off your entire order. And like us on Facebook. Supernatural Silver.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Are you a political activist who does things that the government might not like? Then this free ebook may save your life. Rats is your guide to protecting yourself against snitches, informers, informants, agents provocateur, narcs, finks, and similar vermin. Rats was written by OG libertarian Claire Wolfe. Rats is a short book, easy to read, and available free in many formats. Download Rats free at rats-nosnitch.com. That's rats-nosnitch.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You may join us here toll-free. Our number is 855-450-FREE. We also have Skype, and our Skype username is LRN.FM. In our studio tonight in Keene, New Hampshire, it's Ian.
Rich Paul.
And Darryl.
Darryl W. Perry, presidential candidate for the Libertarian Party. We're going to get a little bit deeper into what happened at the Libertarian Convention in Mississippi and Alabama.
It was in Biloxi. And it was a joint convention. Mississippi and Alabama Libertarian parties worked together, and apparently they're talking about doing this joint convention every 4 years as sort of like the kickoff sort of thing. They want to be the
big
Iowa and New Hampshire of the Libertarian parties.
That's a cool thing. Was it well attended? It looked like it from the
It was well attended. I did a rough count at one point.
While you were on stage?
While I was on stage. And by rough count, I meant I counted the number of seats across and the number of seats deep.
That works.
And then multiplied, and there were about 90 seats set up that way, and then there were some round tables on each side, and those were packed, and then people standing in the background. So
more than 150?
I estimated about 120. And somebody else had said that at one time they had counted 150,
Nice.
but there were some people that were coming and going. So it was probably closer to 200 plus that wound up seeing at least part of the debate.
And some were watching online, and there's supposedly
At one time, there were 1,500 people watching the live stream.
Yeah, I saw. I was actually tuned into some of that later on. The live stream left a lot to be desired, but that's not your fault.
Right.
And at least they had it, whereas not having it is having something is better than having nothing. And the better produced debate video is supposedly still to come. So stay tuned for that. I presume you're going to post that at Freekeen or FPP.
Well, whenever I see it, I'll post the links around.
Cool. Yeah, because even though it didn't happen in New Hampshire, it's still something you did as a Freekeen blogger, so you're welcome to post it. And it's a big deal. So, Rich, I want to get into it with you because you said that Gary Johnson, who is a Republican and who's joined the Libertarian Party.
He's resigned from the Republican Party.
Good.
I'm pretty sure he became a member of the Libertarian Party sometime before becoming their nominee 4 years ago.
Well, I don't think you have to resign from the Republican Party to join the Libertarian Party. I don't think one is necessarily required for the other. But nonetheless, he was their nominee in the year 2012. And it sounds like you're supporting him for president right now. But we're going to get into that here in a moment. But first, we've got Mark on the line with us here. Mark Edge, normal weekend co-host here on Free Talk Live, calling from Keene. Go ahead, or the Keene area. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, so I thought it was kind of funny, you guys going after Rich Paul for supporting...
I haven't gone after him yet, but I will.
Oh, give
the
him
most
time.
liberty-oriented Republican when, Darryl has to go on stage and be the most liberty-oriented libertarian. And my question for Darryl is when do you think the libertarians will be able to take over the Libertarian Party?
That's a good question.
That's a really good question. We first need to stop the Republicans from joining the Libertarian Party to try to turn the Libertarian Party into the Republican Party.
Isn't there
yes, because a growing party would be a political disaster. If we have people adopting our ideas and our way
they're not
of life,
adopting
then
the
all of a
ideas.
sudden we'll
They're
have
not.
to quit that and form the
Rich,
anarchist
when
party.
was the last time you were involved with the Libertarian Party? Because for more than 2 decades, they've been rejecting the ideas of liberty in that party.
That there was one of
I think they had one terrible nominee who was Bob Barr. And
that was scraping the bottom of the barrel.
I did vote for him. I didn't like voting for him. I think the reason he got that nomination is because a lot of people were distracted by the Ron Paul campaign and weren't really paying attention to what was going on in the Libertarian Party. But I think Gary Johnson was a much better candidate.
I can tell you exactly how and why Bob Barr got elected or selected as the nominee.
For listeners who don't know, Bob Barr, former congressman from Georgia, the U.S. representative, who is a notorious drug warrior. Notorious.
Yes. Former CIA, and there are some people that say you're never former CIA. Once you're CIA, you're always CIA. But the reason that Bob Barr was able to get elected, it did have something to do with Ron Paul.
I'm pretty sure he lost.
He got elected as the nominee for the Libertarian Party. He won that nomination because of the Ron Paul people, but not because they were distracted, but because they went and joined the Libertarian Party to Republicanize the Libertarian Party. There were people...
Which had been happening for years.
It had been, but specifically Bob Barr's vice presidential nominee who said, and I quote, "I want to redefine libertarian to mean conservative." So you had people joining the Libertarian Party, and you still have people joining the Libertarian Party because they want to redefine the word libertarian to mean small government, conservative, but pot's okay, but the rest of it needs to remain illegal. We can't let gay people get married.
Okay, that's
not the reason that people join the Libertarian Party, Darryl. The reason people join the Libertarian Party is they want to feel relevant. They want to take a chance at being somebody.
You don't join the Libertarian Party if you want to feel relevant.
Well,
I'm sorry.
No, if you want to be a big fish in a small pond.
Why do you think Gary Johnson quit being a Republican and went to be libertarian? Because
if you're talking about from a politician's perspective, then it's something they do when they're in the last ditch trying to stay. I see what you're saying, trying to stay relevant from their perspective, from falling from grace.
I joined the Libertarian Party because I wanted to see more freedom in America.
Right. The average person does not join the Libertarian Party to feel relevant, because you won't. You will feel irrelevant.
All I'm saying is, if you're going to,
they could do that, but it's a self-defeating strategy. It's not going to make you feel relevant.
That's what I'm saying.
Go ahead, Mark.
You're going to work within a party that's going to be irrelevant, and your work's going to be, sort of ignored. Why not be part of the Republicans? You'll be surrounded by people who believe the same things the Libertarians believe. It's
because
so
this
funny
is how
that
party
Darryl,
politics
well,
works.
hold on just a second.
You asked a question, and I'm going to answer your question.
You guys stake your petard in the Libertarian Party. The thing is on fire. It's sinking.
Yeah, so let's bring more unprincipled people into the party. That's what's been happening, and people are joining the Libertarian Party, a lot of them because they want another alternative, they want another choice. Whether or not they're principled libertarians is another question. Though some of the political people join because they want to wield some sort of power over a political machine, and further, others join specifically for the purpose of diluting the party. This is what happens with public groups. When anyone is free to join in the Libertarian Party, the only thing that stops you from joining would be a signing statement that says that you don't support or advocate the initiation of force to achieve political or social goals, which obviously people like Bob Barr and Gary Johnson ignored when they signed it because they don't adhere to it. So you have these political operatives who see the Libertarian Party as a small threat. It's not a big threat, but it is the largest, arguably, of the third parties. And so they see that as a threat, and they want to go in there and they want to destroy it. That's what they do. That's politics. It happens at different levels. You've got Republicans infiltrating the Democrats, Democrats infiltrating the Republicans, and others infiltrating the Libertarian Party. Am I wrong about this, Darryl?
You're not wrong, and to some extent it happens with the Green Party, where you've got Democrats joining the Green Party to try to neutralize the party.
Yep.
They're not trying to grow the party. They're trying to neutralize the party and prevent the party from having any success anywhere on anything.
So you really think Gary Johnson sees the Libertarian Party as a threat?
I'm not ascribing Gary Johnson with that. I'm telling you there are people who have joined the Libertarian Party for the purpose of destroying it from the inside. Who they are,
okay. I thought you were talking about Gary Johnson.
Anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com. So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. I know this sounds unbelievable, but at my house, we saved as much as 45% off of a new item on Amazon. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. On Monday, gold is up $10 at $1,234 per ounce. Silver is 10 cents higher at $14.84 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $435 US. Gold had its best month in the past 4 years, and year-to-date is up 17%, which is exactly why you should consider buying silver. Give me a call and I can explain. 800-874-9760 or online at rrbi.co.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
Money, power, and respect are all yours at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Be seen as an industry leader. You can do it. The last application you filled out when it was time to hit submit, did your nerves spike? You didn't get the approval you seek, but there's a better way. We teach you exactly what to place into the right systems the right way the first time so you get approved. Get up to $100,000 in instant business credit. Many people will get cash on the spot. Use those two tools in your new corporate credit engine so you can walk into the bank and get your project funded today. It's all about today at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Credit Success Secrets Revealed is explosive and ignites instant results. Dial 1-800-707-8719. That's 1-800-707-8719. 1-800-707-8719. Or just go to creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can join us here toll-free at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Maybe you've got an opinion about the Libertarian Party. It's going to be a topic of discussion that you're going to hear probably more often as we approach the May convention for the Libertarian Party, where they will select their presidential candidate. With you in the studio tonight, you've got Ian,
Rich Paul,
and Darryl.
And Darryl, tell me about Superbeats.
So, yeah, you guys know that I've been getting back in shape.
Oh, yeah.
Lost about 140 pounds in the last year. And recently, I've started adding Superbeats to my smoothies, and they help me maintain a healthy heart. And the thing that I like about Superbeats is when you put it in a smoothie, you can't taste it. Mark says that there's not much taste. He puts it in his water. I put it in a smoothie. Can't taste it at all. And that's good because I hate vegetables because they generally have like a dirty sort of taste. Superbeats has no taste. And it's all natural, non-GMO, and there's a dietary nitrate in the Superbeats that help increase your circulation and support a healthy heart. And it gives you a stamina boost. And if you don't feel the stamina boost in about 20 minutes, you don't pay for Superbeats, guaranteed. You can get a 30-day supply free with your first order. You'll also get nitric oxide indicator strips that you can use before and after you drink the Superbeats, and that way you can see that it's working. And you get the free book, Beat the Odds. All of this comes to you, again, with free shipping. Call 800-951-8940, FTLbeats.com. Or again, 800-951-8940, FTLbeats.com.
All right, toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE. We had Mark on the line. He has since dropped off the line. You can Skype into the show. Skype username is LRN.FM. But let's go back to the conversation that we really kind of just barely got started, Rich, about what is good for the party, referring to the Libertarian Party, and good for the philosophy. You said Gary Johnson is both of those things, good for the party and good for the philosophy. Why?
My first choice would be Ron Paul, but he's getting...
I would agree.
I don't know if he has the stamina.
If that were true, if it were Ron Paul, I would agree with that statement. Yeah. Ron Paul is philosophically pretty pure, and you know he's good for the party, and because of that,
he manages to do the game much better of not having these faux pas that so enrage the purists, well, really, he banged away at about 6 things that the government was doing, and he kept saying, return to the Constitution, return to the Constitution. Now, the Constitution authorizes taxation, and taxation is theft. So was Ron Paul saying rob people? Well, no, he wasn't saying that. What he was saying is, let's get rid of some of the worst, most moronic, most idiotic, most inexcusable things that government does, and there's plenty of those things. Let's get them to cut in half the number of people they murder by ending their foreign wars and only murdering domestically. And that was pretty much what Ron Paul was saying. He attacked the wars. He attacked the Fed. He somewhat attacked the drug war, but he wasn't that enthusiastic about it.
Yeah, he was enthusiastic enough. I mean, he attacked
a lot of the way he put things was he put things as questions rather than as answers, and I think that that gave him that ambiguity that allowed people to see him the way they wanted to see him.
Well, but on the other hand, he did say he supported legalized heroin on the stage at a Republican debate and got a lot of applause for it as well. So, I mean,
really?
It's pretty... Yeah, you didn't remember that?
I actually don't remember that.
That was a real
line.
moment
was that
for me.
2012?
I
think that was 2008.
I don't remember which one it was, but he definitely said it. It was crystal clear on stage. One of his answers was about legalizing heroin, and it was more eloquent than that. And like you're saying, he's a good communicator of these ideas. But it was pretty clear what he was advocating for, which was a total end to the war on drugs. So great, I agree with you, Rich. If it were Ron Paul, I'd be in total agreement that it would be good for the political party of the Libertarians, and that therefore would be good for the philosophy, because Ron Paul is pretty philosophically sound. Gary Johnson is not Ron Paul. He's not even a shred of Ron Paul.
Gary Johnson's had one really bad faux pas that I can think of, which was the burqa comment.
The most recent one that he made? That one? Like from a few weeks back?
Whatever.
Where he said...
The one on the day that he made his announcement, he told 3 different newspapers... that interviewed him independently of one another that he would ban burqas.
That one.
And then he kind of walked
really
it back
like
the
to
next
read
day.
that because you can be loose in your paraphrases, Darryl. Is there a reference to that or anything?
There's something somewhere. I mean, we can probably pull it up for
I
you.
can find you at least 10 sources that cite the 3 different articles.
Yeah. I would love to see what his actual words were, because some things get shipped around. But yeah, I mean, obviously that's a position that I don't take, and that I would never.
He reversed his position sort
of
after basically he got called out by many within the libertarian community as this is unacceptable for a Libertarian Party candidate to be talking about banning clothing, banning what someone would want to wear.
Yeah, and that is my biggest problem.
It shows a fundamental failure on his part to not understand the ideas of liberty, doesn't it? I mean, come on, this is basic human freedom.
I don't know. I think it. I don't know what he was thinking when he made that statement. And next time I talk to him, I'll ask him.
Wasn't he? Now, Darryl, you were on the stage. You were on the stage with him, Darryl, at this Libertarian Party debate. Like I said, I was on the air. I wasn't watching, but I'd seen people posting online that he seemed Islamophobic on stage.
Yes, on stage he said repeatedly that if elected, he would ban Sharia. And when called out on what he thinks is Sharia not actually being Sharia, he stood his ground and said,
"Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Sharia is political and religion is protected, but I would ban Sharia because I can do that."
So he has no idea what he's talking about. He's basically pandering to anti-Muslim xenophobia.
What is he defining as what Sharia is then? What is he saying that he would ban? Not your interpretation of Sharia, but what is he saying?
What Fox News reports as Sharia, which is basically what the governments of Saudi Arabia and Iran and a bunch of other Middle Eastern countries do, he thinks is Sharia. According to the Muslims that I know, that's all Wahhabism, not Sharia. Sharia is something that you completely voluntarily submit to.
It's a set of religious rules.
It's a set of religious, like the Hebrew
so this
diet.
is a theological disagreement that you have with him about exactly what entails Sharia law. Are you going to be asking him to enforce Sharia law? Does he need to have a good knowledge of Sharia law to be a president of the United States? Because that doesn't seem like a necessary thing.
He
rather
should not
have
be
a president
trying to ban religious things.
He doesn't know what he's talking about, Rich. The guy is
he's claiming that Sharia is political, not religious.
Well, I'll tell you,
but it's completely religious. The same way that the people that are Jewish follow the Levitical law, that's religious.
Well, I'll tell you what. When you have men out in the streets hitting women with sticks because they don't like the way they're dressed,
that's
then
not
that
Sharia.
to me is what Sharia law is. And
but that's not Sharia.
That is something that I don't want to see going on in the United States.
I don't want to see
it's
people
certainly
beating.
not something that would be legal in the United States now. It doesn't need to be banned. It's already banned by laws against assault, robbery, rape, and murder, which is what they do to people whose dress they don't approve of.
But that's not Sharia.
Which ironically,
ask any of the people from Muslims for Liberty, and they will tell you that what you just described is not Sharia.
Right. And so this
it's
guy
not authorized
else's definition of Sharia.
Yes,
the incorrect definition.
Okay. So, are we going to decide whether the Catholics or the Protestants are correct in their religious squabbles as well? I mean, they each claim different things for the teaching of Christ.
I wouldn't support Gary Johnson if he wanted to ban the Catholic, whatever the rights that they do.
I would certainly support him if he wanted to ban the Inquisition.
Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE.
February is National Heart Month, and chances are you have a cardiovascular issue like I do. I help maintain my healthy heart by drinking Super Beets. It's a superfood powder that I mix with water, but you can mix it with yogurt or put it in a smoothie, whatever you want. Not only does it help boost my circulation and support my healthy blood pressure naturally, but I feel the energy and stamina boost in about 20 minutes, which no other superfood formula guarantees. All the beets from Super Beets come from one non-GMO farm in California, so they can keep a close eye on the production of the dietary nitrates. I want you to try this product for National Heart Month. And if you don't feel the results, you don't pay, guaranteed. Get a 30-day supply free with your first order. You also get nitric oxide indicator strips so that you can see it's working. Plus, get the free book, Beat the Odds. And all of this comes with free shipping. Call 800-951-8940 or visit FTLBeats.com. I believe in Super Beats. 800-951-8940, FTLBeats.com.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $7.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
Understanding your credit score is the first step towards managing and improving it. This is Charlie Sundstrom with your Van Dyke Mortgage Minute. The most influential component of your credit score is your payment history. Almost equally as important is the amount you owe on credit accounts. Also impacting your score, but to a lesser degree, are the length of time you've utilized your credit, the number of new accounts, credit inquiries, and your various types of credit accounts. To help achieve or maintain a healthy credit score, have a system set up to assure your bills are always paid on time. Don't max out your cards. It's better to have a high credit limit with a low balance. Never close old accounts. The age of these can actually help your credit score. But don't be afraid to use your credit. You need several accounts in order to have a credit score. Just keep the corresponding payments within your means. For your mortgage pre-approval and refi needs, start by visiting VanDykeMortgage.com.
Corporate NMLS 3035. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Charlie Sundstrom, NMLS 134251.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
If you want to move to the free state and you're looking for some real estate.
Oof, I think we've all had enough of that jingle, don't you? If you're going to invest in property in New Hampshire, it just makes sense to support a Liberty-friendly realtor. Call Mark Warden of Team Porcupine Real Estate for investment property or rentals in the Free State, or visit his website. Come on, you know it.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Join us on the radio waves. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Are people like Gary Johnson bad for the Libertarian Party? Darryl and I say yes. Rich Paul is vehemently defending the Islamophobic candidate here tonight. Gary Johnson, who was against you this past weekend, Darryl, and about 8 other candidates on a stage in Biloxi, Mississippi at a Libertarian Party dual convention for the Alabama and Mississippi Libertarian parties. Now, if you're online, you really should be protecting yourself, and one of the ways you can do that to get your privacy back is to use ProXPN. ProXPN is a virtual private network. They encrypt your data from your computer or mobile device. They've got OpenVPN, which is the gold standard of network encryption, plus apps for Windows, Mac, iOS, as well as Android, and there's also Linux support as well. So unlike other VPNs, ProXPN keeps no logs of your activities whatsoever. And if you're a Windows user, ask ProXPN about changing your DNS settings for even greater anonymity. They take credit card and Bitcoin, and if you use code FTL50, you can get 50% off the regular monthly price for the lifetime of an annual account. It can be cheaper per month than a good cup of coffee. Use the internet the way it was meant to be used. Go to proxpn.com right now and use code FTL50 to take back the privacy that is your right. So, Rich, you made the statement earlier that you believe that a candidate like Gary Johnson, who was the Libertarian Party's nominee in the 2012 presidential election, he's better than Bob Barr. I'll give you that. But, you know,
by leaps and bounds, I would say better than Bob Barr.
A leap or bound, but he's better.
When I remember, I hadn't even paid attention to the Libertarian, and maybe I'm just projecting my experience in 2008 onto the rest of the Libertarian Party. I was so caught up in the Ron Paul campaign, but I was always a realist. I knew he wasn't going to get the nomination, so the Republican nomination. So a lot of what I wanted to do is to take his supporters back with me to the Libertarian Party, and I was really hoping that there was going to be a nomination of the Libertarian candidate by Ron Paul, which didn't happen. And then when I remember the sitting in my office one night on the night of the convention and hearing that Bob Barr had gotten it, and I was absolutely
bewildered,
crushed.
Yeah.
I didn't even know he was trying to get it.
Yeah.
I remembered getting a letter saying he joined the party.
Didn't he defeat Dr. Ruart, Dr. Mary Ruart?
Mary Ruart,
yes. Narrowly, I think. And I would have definitely thrown my weight behind Ruart if I had been there. But
well, that's the problem was though that Bob Barr, he was just an indicator of how far the party had fallen
and he recruited heavily. Somehow he got a hold of the donor list of people that had donated to Ron Paul, and he recruited heavily off of that donor list and brought enough people into the party to get the nomination for himself.
And it had been going on for years, as I pointed out previously. I remember when I I actually ended up resigning the Libertarian Party before they nominated Bob Barr, so that wasn't that wasn't even the final straw for me. It was just that I was so sick of the continued anti-principled statements that have been made in like the party newsletter. There was a newspaper called the LP News that they'd send out, I think, on a monthly.
Oh, I used to read that every month. Yeah,
me too.
It still comes out, I think, 3 or 4 times a year.
They went quarterly. So it used to be monthly, though, back in their heyday, back when the Libertarian Party was more relevant. They printed this thing, and I was dismayed every issue with how many like letters to the editor or articles themselves were not actually advocating libertarian positions. They were not advocating for a libertarian. You believe you don't advocate or support the initiation of force to achieve political or social goals. That's the statement that you still have to sign to join the Libertarian Party, although there's one presidential candidate for their party who's arguing about, arguing in favor of eliminating that statement, which would be really sad.
You know, when I first signed that statement, what I thought it meant was that I wasn't going to try and overthrow the government. I had no idea that it was of. As a matter of fact, if I probably wouldn't have joined when I did if I had fully understood what that statement made.
In my case, I did understand
it. I would probably support removing it. Basically, what I think the Libertarian Party should represent is, if you remember the Nolan chart, the world's smallest political quiz.
Most people aren't familiar with it. What is it?
Okay, you have a square diagram with centrist in the middle. You have liberal on the left. You have conservative on the right.
The square is kind of rotated to be more of a diamond shape.
It's a diamond cut into 5 spots. Okay, you have your center line is the mythical paradigm that they teach you in school, the left right paradigm, from liberal to conservative, upon which libertarians don't exist, and neither do Nazis or communists. And then you have the authoritarian quadrant, where you find the Nazis
Hitler
and the communists, and then you have the libertarian quadrant, where you find the libertarians, and you know it's identified by 2 scales. And anyway, the voice that I want to hear coming out of the Libertarian Party is a voice from somewhere in the center of the libertarian quadrant on the Nolan chart. Okay. And the reason that I want that is because as you go from minarchist positions to anarchist positions, you lose a huge number of people, and they're people that you need. So if all they're doing is trying to push it back to constitutional government, which, if you broadly interpret the 9th Amendment, is relatively libertarian. You know, if you incorporate the Declaration of Independence, which says, to paraphrase, that the only check on your free action should be the equal rights of others to act, then it's a pretty good voice. I'd like to also have an anarchist party putting out, you know, with running Darryl Perry and Mary Ruwart and Ian Freeman, and arguing a more purist position. I think that would be a very
libertarians
valuable
used to be pure, and that was the position of the Libertarian Party, was purity, 100-100 score on the libertarian chart that you were talking about, the diamond chart, the Nolan chart. So that's one of the reasons why we disagree on this, Rich, is because your goal is to get elected as a libertarian, or to try to get elected.
Not to get elected necessarily, but my goal is
generally why people want to
make as much noise as possible, even at the risk of losing some of the clarity of the message, because once you've got people's attention, you can clarify the message. And the nice thing about these ideas is one builds upon the other. As you accept some of the ideas of liberty and you realize that people will find ways to figure out some of their problems, it becomes easier and easier to believe that people will be able to solve more and more of their problems. So I want to have a larger bandwagon that maybe doesn't go quite as far, but it would be nice to have an alternate voice. Maybe the Boston Tea Party could become the...
I don't think that went anywhere.
Yeah,
that's not existed in almost 4 years.
Darryl was involved in that, though. Now, Darryl, you were trying to jump in there for a moment, I think.
I was going to say something, but I don't remember what it was.
Bandwagon, maybe. So you were talking about this big bandwagon, Rich, and I get where you're coming from. I do understand. I feel like it is important to have the principled message of liberty out there, because when you have someone like a Rand Paul or Glenn Beck, or at least Rand Paul, at least to his credit, wouldn't describe himself as a libertarian, but people like Glenn Beck, who say they're a libertarian.
I'm a libertarian at heart.
And then they go on to talk about all these things that are very unlibertarian, is very, in my opinion, damaging to the ideas of liberty. If you have an unprincipled person out there who's the icon of the party, this is their choice for libertarianism, to get the word out about this particular political party, which was originally based on a political philosophy, which has been now lost in this pursuit of this big tent idea. So, yeah, they did get a record number of votes with Gary Johnson in the year 2012. They finally surpassed 1 million votes, which they hadn't done since the year 1980 with a previous candidate that they had. So, they did get some votes.
Right. But dues-paying membership to the party has not increased by any measurable notice. Like, it's within the margin of error, so basically.
It turned into nothing in reality beyond just a few extra votes.
Correct.
So there you go, Rich. You sacrificed the principles of the party, and you didn't even get any extra party members out of it, basically.
Well, that's... I mean, I haven't sacrificed anything, but
you're supporting candidates like Gary Johnson, who are sacrificing the principles of liberty on the altar of popularity.
I don't believe that they're sacrificing the principles of liberty. I believe
when you
that
advocate
they
for banning
recognize...
burkas, you've sacrificed the principle of liberty. 855-450-FREE. We'll continue, and you can share your thoughts in Hour 3 coming up.
There comes a time when you need custom embroidered or screen printed apparel for your business, organization, or a special event. Corporate Casuals has been helping people create great looking logoed apparel for over 25 years. They can produce a single piece or thousands using name brand apparel like Nike, Patagonia, Adidas, and Hanes. Create your logo in their online embroidery design studio, or upload your existing logo and they'll turn it into embroidery. Go to corporatecasuals.com/FTL and include FTL in the order notes and save 5% on your order. As a pioneer of the e-commerce movement, Overstock.com is proud to be the first major retailer to accept Bitcoin. Overstock was the first because Patrick Byrne, Overstock's CEO and founder, firmly believes in personal freedom and cryptocurrency. Over the past 16 years, Overstock has furnished over 18 million homes with a diverse line of products to suit everyone's unique styles and preferences. Support Overstock and freedom of choice while enjoying free shipping on orders of 0.211 Bitcoin or more.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Temporarily from the Gulf Coast of Biloxi, Mississippi, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Monday, February 29th, 2016. Silver is trading at $14.72 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,226 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $439. Antiwar.com reports the full results of Iran's election for its 290-seat parliament still aren't in, but the results from the capital city of Tehran show a dominant performance by the reformist candidates who won all 30 seats in the capital in an embarrassing loss for the hardliners. The reformists were expected to do well, with the reformist Rouhani government campaigning heavily on its success in securing sanctions relief with a nuclear deal, something the hardliners opposed every step of the way. Despite the early results showing the reformists dominating, analysts still say they don't expect anyone to secure a 146-seat majority in the parliament. There is also a vote on the 88-seat Assembly of Experts, which would be in charge of appointing a successor to the supreme leader, important as Ayatollah Ali Khamenei is in poor health. A better-than-expected performance among reformists could further speed international rapprochement for Iran, with several nations already eager to expand trade ties and certain to embrace a government looking to open Iran to the rest of the world. Are you an advocate for free market money? Do you promote Bitcoin as an alternative in a fiat-centric world? Then you need Spendabit in your arsenal, the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spendabit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Visit spendabit.co today. Bitcoin merchants, ask about our merchant suite to reach even more customers. Spendabit.co. UPI reports disgraced former Michigan State Representative Todd Courser just a day after he was hit with felony misconduct charges related to an extramarital affair with another state lawmaker, said the allegations against him are nonsensical. Courser on his Facebook page on Saturday said the charges are political in nature and have come at a time to take heat off the misconduct of others. He said Michigan Attorney General Bill Schuett charged him with a nonsensical claim of perjury and 3 counts of misconduct under a rarely used and vague catch-all statute. He said none of the charges involved taxpayer funds, though that was used as the reason for the House investigation. Courser resigned in September after he and fellow state representative Cindy Gamret allegedly attempted to cover up their affair with a bizarre story involving male prostitutes and drugs. A House investigation determined that both state representatives engaged in deceptive, deceitful, and outright dishonest conduct. The investigation accused the two of directing their staff to facilitate their affair and blurring the lines between official and public work. Courser faces 3 charges of misconduct in office and 1 count of perjury. Gamret, in the same case, faces 2 counts of misconduct in office. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports when the U.S. Supreme Court on Wednesday hears a major abortion case for the first time in nearly a decade, the regulations at issue will not involve fetuses or the mother, but rather standards for doctors and facilities where the procedure is performed. That the High Court is taking up a case about such arcane regulations reflects the success of a legal strategy that abortion opponents embraced about a decade ago and initially caught some abortion rights advocates off guard. Elizabeth Nash, a policy analyst at the Guttmacher Institute, which tracks abortion policy and supports abortion rights, said it took a while to see the impact of the state laws imposing regulations on abortion providers. One of the 2 Texas regulations before the Supreme Court requires doctors who provide abortions to have admitting privileges at a local hospital so they can treat patients needing surgery or other critical care. Another regulation being challenged before the Supreme Court forces clinics to have costly, hospital-grade facilities, mandating a long list of building standards. Unlike the admitting privileges requirement, it has yet to go into effect. Since the Republican-backed law was passed in 2013, many Texas clinics have closed. Abortion providers challenging the Texas law say the Supreme Court should declare it unconstitutional. They contend the law was intended to shutter clinics and make it harder for a woman to end a pregnancy. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
The FBI has successfully executed a raid on the Visa Corporation, exposing what could be the largest credit card scam in U.S. history. According to authorities, the Visa syndicate for years fooled millions of Americans by issuing convincing-looking credit cards carefully designed to dupe consumers into spending far more money than they had. Investigators believe the fraudulent corporation also lured victims in with enticing rewards programs and free gifts, thereby trapping them in a spiral of debt they could never hope to repay. According to the results of a groundbreaking new study, 96% of humans would rather be a singing, dancing animatronic bear. The study finds that a great majority of people on the planet would prefer to trade in their regular lives for one in which they sat on a plastic log, strummed a banjo, and sang songs on a stage with all their goofy bear friends. Respondents also stated that not being a sentient human being with feelings of doubt, sadness, and pain contributed to the decision.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, and you're invited here to join us toll-free at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You can join us online as well over at freetalklive.com. Please enjoy the features that we have waiting for you. freetalklive.com is the place to go for that. Free archives and all kinds of downloads and stuff. So head on over there and enjoy. With you in the studio tonight, you've got Ian,
Rich Paul,
and Darryl.
Things have been getting a little heated in the studio over the conflict over the direction of the Libertarian Party.
Cripple fight!
Now, I believe that only one of the three people in the studio is a National LP, National Libertarian Party member. Am I correct about that? Rich, you are not.
I have been a member of the Libertarian Party. If you have to keep paying them, I haven't. Okay. I probably need to take care of that, because I really do, even though it's not something we're taking a lot of we're paying a lot of attention to in New Hampshire. It's something that does matter to me at the national level. And I think what's going on here, I was thinking about this. You became a libertarian in what year?
1998.
1998. Okay, with me it was 90 probably 94, because I voted for Bill Clinton in 92,
You're a
and
little
then I
older than
voted
me.
for Harry Brown in 96. And
I was only able to vote in 1998.
I guess my view of what the Libertarian Party is that it's kind of the Babytown Frolics of libertarianism. Because
what's that mean?
Babytown Frolics I actually stole from a series called Archer, but it's like Introduction to Libertarianism 101. It's generally the first that people ever hear.
It was for me.
About libertarianism. It was for me. I first encountered them actually when I was 16.
Mm-hmm.
It took me 10 years to realize I'd lost my first argument with a libertarian. But
it's a process. There's no doubt about that. But I don't know if I would have been as excited by the Libertarian Party if their candidate, when I was introduced to it, was Gary Johnson. I don't know. I was a Harry Brown libertarian, as you were. I was introduced.
I loved Harry. I met him in person.
So did I. I had the pleasure of meeting him. Very tall man.
Oh, yeah.
Did you meet him
huge.
in Tampa when he was campaigning there?
Yeah, I met him in Tampa.
Was it during the 2000 campaign, or did you meet him in 96?
It would have had to be during, I think, 96, but maybe 2000.
Because I was going to say, if it was Tampa in 2000, we were probably in the same room together.
Oh, wow.
We just didn't know each other, because there was only one campaign appearance that I know of that he made that year, and I remember he came up there and gave a speech and met everyone in the audience, and I was amazed by how tall he was. He was a very, very tall man. He was being handled by a guy named Michael Cloud at that time. He was his campaign manager.
Who wrote Secrets of Libertarian Persuasion,
Great
which
book.
is if anybody has the audio tape of that book.
Someone lend it to Gary Johnson, because he needs a refresher on the ideas of
and lend it to me, too. I would love to have an MP3 of that thing. It was brilliant. I had the book on tape, and I've been in touch with the Advocates for Self-Government. The new president over there, last month I contacted him. They're hoping to retranscribe it, but they've lost the audio book that was previously created.
I used to have those cassette tapes back in the day.
See, I did too. They're lost in a storage unit many years ago. But what I was saying about the Libertarian Party is what, it's a political party, so it's not going to be pure libertarianism, because by the time you get to pure libertarianism, you don't really need governments or political parties or anything like that. What it is
it could be that,
what it
and it
should
has been
be,
that.
I think, is a gateway drug to real libertarianism, where we gather the people who can be brought this far as the party libertarian voice, and then we should use it kind of the way that the IRA used Sinn Féin, where they used it as a recruiting organization, where it would bring libertarian-leaning people together, and, you know, you can go in and get to know those people and schmooze with them, find out which ones of them can become anarchists or, you know, and try to move them on issues. But the more you can support their electoral success and especially their debate success, it's getting them back into the debates some way, somehow.
They were never in the debates.
That's true. But getting the possibility of third parties back into the debates and getting them into the debates for the first time,
that'd be nice.
Somehow, somewhere, would be even better than a large vote total for me from my point of view, because it would get those words out there more. I want people to be able to get a kitty libertarian, a version of kitty libertarianism that at least convinces them on the big things, the war on drugs, the other wars, the things that most of the time anarchists don't argue about, the things that
Is Gary Johnson even good on these issues that he's talking about? Darryl, you've shared a stage with him now at least one time.
Gary Johnson will talk about doing something with cannabis, but he doesn't talk about any of the other aspects of the drug war.
That's no good.
He talks about some of the illegal aspects of some of the wars, but he does advocate for humanitarian wars. And it seems as though if Congress voted on something the right way, then he wouldn't be opposed to, you know, the wars that are happening.
So he's not even the candidate you're talking about here, Rich. He's not even close to what you're talking about. Someone who has the basics down.
He's not in Darryl's estimation. You know, I mean, I'm.
He's the closest thing to an expert.
I'm sorry,
here.
Darryl. You are the closest thing to an expert, but you're also a competing candidate. So,
well, the video's going to be out at some point.
Of what he says is bound to be couched.
Who is more libertarian,
in terms of
John McAfee or Gary Johnson? Based on
I have no idea.
I'm asking Darryl, based on their answers to questions at the debate, questions which were asked by libertarian, or at least people who purport to be libertarian.
I will answer the question thus. If I were not a candidate and my choices were Gary Johnson or John McAfee, and I somehow could not vote for Noda, I would vote for John McAfee before I would vote for Gary Johnson.
Was it a stark comparison or just a barely, and he's a nudge better than
just
Johnson?
I would say it's just a nudge better, but he sounded more libertarian on stage than what he sounds
on his website.
The website and some of the other appearances that I've seen and heard.
Yeah, McAfee does seem to have the ability to construct his opinion or his perspectives that he's sharing based on the audience he's talking to. You know, he went on Jeff Berwick's show, Anarchast, and I keep thinking Anarchapulco, that's his convention. Yeah. He went to Jeff Berwick's Anarchast and said he was an anarchist on the radio. So he said during that interview he was an anarchist, but if you go on his website, John McAfee's website for president, his positions sound pretty middle of the road.
Yeah, and I forget what sort of weird tax policy he was advocating for at the convention over the weekend. And, of course, Gary Johnson was advocating for the fair tax and then saying, I only support this as a conversation starter, but we need a consumption tax, and everybody else was advocating for some kind of tax.
You were the only one not advocating.
I was the only one that said get rid of everything and have things be funded completely voluntarily.
See, isn't that something? I mean, you're saying, Rich, you think that message is needed, that Darryl's principled message is needed. You just don't think it should be the Libertarian Party, which historically has been a principled message.
I would rather have it be the Anarchy Party.
But that doesn't get you anywhere, right? The word anarchist, you might as well just forget about it. No one's going to pay attention to that.
That's the thing. As soon as you say taxation is theft, you're out of the closet. You're not a closet anarchist anymore. You're out. And that means for most people that you have jumped the shark as soon as you open your mouth and say that.
Well, someone was calling for, a talk show host was calling for Darryl's removal from the
It was actually not the talk show host. It was one of the people that he allows to write on his website under, the website is his name.
Yeah, you got to look closely to see who actually wrote
But it was not him that wrote the article.
But that person, the Jason Stapleton website, claimed that Darryl is an anarchist and he's not even a libertarian. He shouldn't have even been on stage.
And that I should be expelled.
855-450-FREE. You can join us on Free Talk Live.
Are you thinking about your Medicare benefits right now? Original Medicare may not cover all of your needs, and the deadline to choose your plan is rapidly approaching. Plus, whatever Medicare plan you choose is locked in for a full year. So the wrong choice could cost you thousands of dollars in out-of-pocket costs. At Health Markets, we can help you find a plan to minimize those costs with one free phone call. You could spend hours doing all the research yourself, or our licensed agents can do it for you for free. Call Health Markets now for free help.
800-978-4818. 800-978-4818. 800-978-4818. Again, that's 800-978-4818. Health Market Insurance Agency is a DBA of InSphere Insurance Solutions, licensed in all 50 states and D.C. Service and product availability varies by state. Agents may be compensated based on your enrollment.
Hello?
Congratulations.
For what?
For losing all that weight. How'd you do it so fast?
ASAP.
ASAP what? What's that mean?
Are you ready to get as skinny as possible, as soon as possible, as simple as possible, and as sexy as possible?
I'm listening.
Then get with the ASAP program. It's real and it works. No smooth talk, no slick advertising, and no exaggerated claims of success.
I've got to know more.
Welcome to ASAP, as slim as possible. Whether you have 10, 20, or 50 pounds to lose, ASAP is your weight loss answer. ASAP targets the abnormal fat reserves and makes them available to be burned as fuel and contains no caffeine or hormones. Order ASAP at wholesale prices or join the team to share the business with others. Visit GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. Lose weight and look great with ASAP, as slim as possible.
I'm Ian Freeman, host of Free Talk Live. We've been covering Uber for years on the radio with their ongoing legal cases across the globe defending your right to give people rides without asking government permission. I wanted to support Uber more directly, so I signed up to be a driver. It's fun to meet new people and help Uber push forward innovation. As of this recording, Uber is active in 67 countries, so there's a good chance they're available in your area. If you'd like to drive for Uber and make some money helping people get where they want to go, sign up at drive.freetalklive.com, and you'll get a $100 bonus after you complete a certain number of trips. With Uber, you can drive anytime you want. You set your schedule. To get started, you need a good driving record, 4-door vehicle, insurance, registration, and to pass a background check. It costs nothing to sign up, so visit drive.freetalklive.com. That's drive.freetalklive.com. And if you just want to try Uber as a rider, visit ride.freetalklive.com. Your first ride's free. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Join us here on the radio. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Arcade City has hit the streets. The app is now available in both the Android Play Store and the Apple App Store. You can now easily download the app through those venues. Go to arcade.freetalklive.com if you'd like to sign up to drive for Arcade City. What is it? It's a ride-sharing app that is built by drivers for drivers. These are people who were frustrated with the centralized command and control structures of Uber and Lyft, and they struck out to create their own competitor that decentralizes even further the idea of ride-sharing. So Uber and Lyft sort of revolutionized the taxi business, basically, by essentially decentralizing it somewhat, making it so that there's no more central cab company. Uber and Lyft just simply send you rides, and you take them if you wish, which is good. It's a good system, and it worked well. But the problem with it is that Uber and Lyft set the rates, and so you don't have any competition for rates within the drivers for Uber and Lyft. Whereas some of the drivers might want to charge more, others might want to charge less. They're not free to make that decision with Uber and Lyft. With Arcade City, you get to decide what you charge. So you'll actually essentially be in competition with other Arcade City drivers as well, which brings prices down and service up for customers. So it's another level of decentralization. The companies, of course, are not multi-billion-dollar, or the company is not a multi-billion-dollar company. In fact, it barely exists as a corporation. They've filed an LLC so they can start doing credit card charges through the app, but that's pretty much all they're doing for incorporation. Basically, they just want to connect you with riders. They want you, the driver, to connect with riders. Or maybe you want to be a rider for Arcade City. Maybe you want to try it out as a rider. You can go to arcaderide.freetalklive.com to get signed up as a rider. Or if you want to drive, go to arcade.freetalklive.com. It's a big change for the ride-sharing industry, and a lot of people are really excited about it. So once again, to drive for Arcade City, go to arcade.freetalklive.com. And they've announced their new classes of drivers. They have 5 classes of drivers, and the lowest level class, you actually get to keep everything that you earn as the friend of Arcade City, but not even a background check is required to become a friend of Arcade City. So basically, riders will be warned, hey, you were riding in your friend's car. This person does not have insurance, commercial insurance. So it's like a completely outside of the system way to connect with people. It's a really amazing thing they're doing. So once again, if you want to drive, go to arcade.freetalklive.com. And to ride, go to arcaderide.freetalklive.com. As we go to the phones and to your calls and thoughts, Ralph is in New Jersey. Ralph, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian, Rich, and Darryl. Yes, sir.
I want to talk about Black Lives Matter. And
do you ever want to talk about anything else?
Sometimes he wants to talk about Obama.
Right.
Well, I want to talk about the issue of race.
That's all you ever want to talk about. It's fine. You can talk about it, but it gets a little dull, don't you think?
Read the Daily News of New York, for crying out loud. What did he constantly want in there, the issue of race? Okay.
I don't know what you just said.
About the Black Lives Matter, okay?
Uh-huh.
These people came into being because of white guilty. That we know for a fact, okay? They are a marginal group. They have narrow support in public opinion. I can prove that to you right now, okay? According to a survey.
What are you going to prove, that they don't have support in public opinion?
In public opinion, according to a survey done, okay, on the magazine Esquire, okay, about anger in America.
Okay.
It is, the Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter here. From what you have heard or read about the movement called Black Lives Matter, hashtag Black Lives Matter, do you? 17% strongly support the movement. 20% somewhat support the movement.
How many percent strongly support?
70% of who?
17.
17. Okay, so I thought you said 70.
Right.
Okay, so 17%.
17. 17.
Was this a scientific poll, or was it?
It is a scientific. Yeah, it is a scientific poll. Indeed, it is. Okay.
Well, look,
13%.
I don't defend the Black Lives Matter movement. I understand where they're coming from, but I think they're not inclusive enough. I think that everybody's life should matter.
Yeah, but nevertheless.
So let me ask you this question, Ian. Hold on, Ralph. So would you go to a AIDS rally and say, cancer matters too? You guys need to be more inclusive. AIDS isn't the only bad thing. Cancer's bad too.
I would not support an organization that purported to cure cancer in only black people or only white people or only Mexicans. I would support an organization that purported to cure cancer for everyone, because if somebody's trying to solve it for just one race, I think they're operating on the wrong theory.
That's a good point,
okay?
Rich. I think it's a great counter to what Darryl was saying there, because Black Lives Matter is frustrated with police abuse of black people, but police are abusing all people who are not police.
I mean, if you take what the Black Lives Matter people say literally, then they could be satisfied by just going out and randomly shooting some white people to even up the score. That wouldn't make things better from my point of view. I want to see fewer people shot of all races, creeds, and colors. But I definitely understand that a lot of black people also are existing in neighborhoods where the police feel like an occupying army in a way that they may not in more prevalently white neighborhoods. So I can see how...
Oh, I understand it.
I can see how they may... feel that, and to some extent they may be right that white people don't get the brunt of police brutality as much.
There's some evidence for that.
But to me, I would be saying, but hey, come be my allies, because we've got people killing us here and we need all the allies we can get.
I totally agree there. Ralph, go ahead.
They're not gonna, and 20%, by the way, strongly oppose the movement. Between the 17 and 20, that's a huge,
How much percent strongly oppose?
Strongly oppose the movement is 20%.
20%.
20% of who?
Right.
The people that were surveyed.
Of the people that were surveyed. Now,
So, Ralph, I've got mixed feelings about it, right? I've got mixed feelings.
We come to another survey because currently in the news
I can only handle so much per night, Ralph. Thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate it. It'd be interesting to get a poll done about people and their opinions about Ralph. How many people...
Can we get him a translator?
Yeah, how many people can actually enjoy Ralph's calls? Because some people hate Ralph's calls because he's hard to understand, but I just got a message from someone who says he's the greatest caller ever on Free Talk Live.
Alrighty.
So
better
he
than
was
Scott the
certainly
Bigot.
enthusiastic, and he wasn't all crazy ragey like some of the callers.
Yeah.
But... I wish I could have gotten, slower speech out of him so that maybe I could have taken in more of what he was laying down.
You've just got to stop him and ask for clarification. It's the only way to possibly have a conversation with him.
How long's it been since Scott the Bigot has called in?
A couple years, probably. It's been a while.
Yeah, I don't think he's called in since I've been on the show.
Could be right about that. I know there was a time where he was gone for a while and then popped up once and then kind of disappeared again. So, toll-free number tonight, if you want to join us here, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Also, you can join us online through Skype. The Skype username is lrn.fm, and this is Free Talk Live.
Don't know what's in your drinking water? Better get a ProPure. With the Pro 1 G2.0 all-in-one filter, remove over 200 contaminants, including fluoride and lead. Taste water the way nature meant it to be. Clean, crisp, and refreshing. See the complete line of ProPure water filtration products. There's a ProPure system for you. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer for details on our current free shipping special or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com.
So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Arcade City is a ride-sharing app built by drivers for drivers. It's more decentralized than Uber and Lyft. With Arcade City, you can keep all of what you earn. Sign up now to drive for Arcade City at arcade.freetalklive.com. Arcade City was created by New Hampshire liberty activist Christopher David. When he publicized the idea in January 2016, he hoped to recruit 100 drivers by the end of the month. Instead, he blew past his goal with over 1,300 drivers signing up in just 2 weeks. Arcade City is connecting drivers directly with riders and is disrupting the already disrupted transportation industry. If you want to get involved, you can join as a rider or a driver. To ride with Arcade City, visit arcaderide.freetalklive.com. To drive with Arcade City, visit arcade.freetalklive.com. That's arcade.freetalklive.com to drive, or arcaderide.freetalklive.com to ride with Arcade City.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You may join us here toll-free, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Got a terrible story about a child who told a story at school about marijuana.
I didn't do it.
And it ended up getting I guess it wasn't his dad, but essentially his dad was arrested over it. We'll give you those details here in moments. And you can join us online at freetalklive.com. You want to save big time on your purchases through Amazon? How about saving 20% every time you buy through Amazon? Here's how you do it. You have to have Bitcoin, and you have to go to saveitpurse.com. Save AT Purse. Saveitpurse.com allows you to save huge 20, 30, 40%. You can do all of that through saveitpurse.com on the things you're going to buy probably anyway through Amazon. So why wouldn't you want to save big time? It's a perfect excuse to go out and get some Bitcoin if you have not yet done so. So get started at Save AT Purse. Saveitpurse.com as we go to Glenn in Philly. Glenn, you're on Free Talk Live. Glenn
Hello,
in Philly.
hello.
Hey, you're on the air.
Hi. Oh, okay. Oh, first, tonight's message to Tim. The loonies are in the bin.
Tim?
The loonies are in the bin.
Who's Tim?
Tim the Spy.
Oh, you mean TJ the Spy? Or a different
Is it
spy?
TJ the Spy? I thought it was Tim. It's TJ the Spy.
Tim's a caller from Wyoming.
Yeah.
And also the wizard from Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
TJ is not on the show tonight. I don't know if he's monitoring the program, so I can't guarantee you.
I'm just trying to follow instructions.
I see.
I didn't read the the encode. Sometimes just these encoded messages are hard to read. So.
All right, Glenn. What else were you calling about tonight?
Actually, I heard you talking about a rideshare service in which the drivers set their own rates.
That's correct. Arcade City.
Okay, the immediate question this raised for me is like, unless the potential riders can shop from among the various drivers in competition in real time.
Yes.
Oh, can they? Okay, that's what I was wondering. Okay, yeah.
I was actually
you can't choose.
I was actually looking at the app earlier today just because I was curious what would happen if I wanted to, create a ride. And at the moment, they don't have hail a ride. They have schedule a ride.
Correct.
So you go through, you put where you want to be picked up, you put where you want to go, and then it will show you, here's the number of drivers in the area.
Right.
And then you can click on the names and you can see, oh, this person takes cash and credit card.
Correct.
This person takes this. This person charges this. And of the drivers that I was looking at, none of them accepted Bitcoin. So I did not even attempt to finish.
Where were you looking at these drivers? Was this down in Mississippi?
I was sitting in the airport in New Orleans looking for drivers in Boston just in case the person that I had scheduled a ride with wound up not being able to pick me up for some reason.
And the app is relatively new. It's being updated quite a bit. There's like one update per day, it seems like, which is great because it means they're adding new features and fixing bugs. And so right now, I don't think there's a specific field where it lists the person's per mile rate or whatever, but they're adding fields to the app where
there's a field where you can list a
what
rate.
You accept. Oh, really?
And so some people put $1 per mile. One guy put pay what you feel is it's worth.
So they must have added that.
But this
since
guy also had a picture of a pickup truck and said, I have a pickup truck. I can help you move your furniture.
Wow, that's cool.
I'm not going to hire somebody in a big, giant four-wheel drive truck to give me a ride from Boston to Keene, New Hampshire.
Expensive gas.
And then pay him what I think it's worth because, what I paid the person that did pick me up would probably not even cover this guy's gas.
So that's good to know they've added that field already. I hadn't noticed the addition of that field. So there's, again, new features going in here all the time. And they are going to turn on ride-hailing as well at some point for certain markets where they decide that there are enough drivers in those markets to be able to facilitate instantaneous kind of ride-hailing. So we're a ways away, I think, from that happening.
What will the ride-hailing frequency be?
The frequency?
I'm sorry. Hailing frequency. I'm sorry.
It's a Star Trek joke. Gotcha. Okay.
I'm sorry. Anyway, it makes sense, but they all have the same. Still the security issue persists. About and I'm tired of the word vetting. The qualifying or the clearing of people. And things like I don't know. I mean, since we've had these this incident, with this criminal now, this murderer.
Which murderer?
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
There was a guy in Michigan
who killed people.
that he did like 3 Uber. Ian, I think you've done more Uber driving than this guy in Michigan.
I've given 8 rides. Yeah.
And this guy had only done a handful of rides,
and then he murdered people.
Yeah, he happened to have murdered people.
But he was a clean check, right? Like his background check was
in connection with his Uber driving?
No, it had absolute. It would be like, McDonald's patron kills people,
so he didn't,
and it's nowhere near McDonald's or while he's eating a Big Mac.
Oh, interesting. See, I didn't read the story, so I didn't know he didn't kill his riders or whatever. He just killed someone else.
He
entirely?
Killed somebody, and he happened to have done a couple of Uber rides. Right. So therefore,
therefore Uber has a problem with their background.
Wait a minute. Okay, so the correct they were not Uber passengers.
That's what Darryl said.
That's based on the info that I have read.
They were.
Okay, maybe it's worth double check. Maybe it's worth double checking that. But either way, it's not a failure on Uber's part because the dude didn't have a criminal background, from what I understand.
Right.
You know, he basically snapped and killed some people or killed a person. I don't know how many victims he had. But
he went on a shooting spree.
Okay.
One generally does not go on a shooting spree of the people sitting in their car.
Yeah, right. So, and so some people are acting like this is somehow Uber's fault.
No, that's
or
an important part.
5 hour. It's listed here from the Daily Mail that it was a 5-hour rampage.
Wow.
That he killed 6 people and injured 2.
Daily Mail. Was this in the UK or is
no?
US?
The guy, Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Okay.
But the top story was from Daily Mail.
Now, Glenn, I don't know where you're falling on this one, but ultimately, you know, this isn't an indictment on Uber. This is just a crazy person.
He was also married, so you could, blame married man kills 6.
Right.
Father of 2 kills 6.
Go ahead.
He did drive some Uber customers after he had done the rampage, but before he was caught, and then that was featured in the media.
Well, if he didn't think he was going to get caught, then it would make sense that he would go back to his
it's interesting,
normal life.
Well, no, but the people who had taken the ride were like, "Oh my God!" And because they had even said something to him about that, like that. You're not the shooter, are you? No, I'm just tired. And I was like, "Oh, brother." Wow. But anyways, that's informative. All right.
There you go.
Well, thank you, gentlemen.
Hey,
Have a
thanks,
good night.
Glenn. And again, if you want to sign up to drive for Arcade City, just go to arcade.freetalklive.com. You can also sign up to ride with Arcade City at arcaderide.freetalklive.com.
And my guess is that if he were going on the shooting spree while doing an Uber ride, he would have gotten bad reviews and not able to pick up another passenger.
Yeah, and I'd imagine
dead men leave no reviews.
And plus, if you're driving for Uber, then they know right where you are because you're on GPS and they're tracking you. And they have a full log of where you've been and where you've gone because that's part of what they do. So, again, not an indictment of Uber, and Glenn wasn't saying it was, but some people are out there
like... The media is trying to indict Uber as if Uber is to blame.
No cabbie has ever killed anyone. In the history of cab driving, come on, of
course
they have.
Have you seen Taxi Driver?
Right. I mean, it's a movie, but nonetheless.
It's true.
Nonetheless, taxi drivers aren't exactly known for their cool heads and, for their best behavior. Now, they've been behaving better ever since Uber came into places like New York City. The cabbies have kind of cleaned up their act. They've cleaned up their cars. They've become friendlier than they previously had been.
That's because Uber and Lyft are stealing money from them.
Well, they're certainly competing
by competing in a free-ish kind of market.
But my point being that
customers are not property; they cannot be stolen.
We know that in California alone, there have been a few 100,000 Uber drivers. So there are probably well over 1 million Uber drivers around the entire globe. You take 1 million people, there's a good chance there's going to be a psychopath in 1 million people. Good chance of it. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Coming up, an 8-year-old tells a story at school that gets someone arrested for growing marijuana in Vermont, of all places. It's Free Talk Live.
Are you searching for your soulmate? Someone you can trust, who will never betray you or cooperate with the NSA? Stop searching. With EasyDNS, you found a keeper. EasyDNS does it all. Domain names, web hosting, and managed WordPress hosting. EasyDNS stands up for your internet freedom. And with servers in Canada, they do not cooperate with the NSA. Go to EasyDNS.com. You'll love their services or get a full refund. They guarantee it. And they accept Bitcoin. That's EasyDNS.com.
Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
Are you tired of the coldest winter? Are you prepared for the next blizzard or snowstorm? What will you do when the power and heat go off? That could be our future. Fortress Clothing's Bug Out Bag with our head-to-toe solution is your one-step answer to survival in the cold. It doesn't expire, it doesn't go bad, it's lightweight and mobile, and it doesn't just sit on the shelf waiting for an emergency. You can use Fortress today. Be warm and comfortable if you or your family work in the cold. Be warm and comfortable while you play, hunt, fish, camp, ski, paraglide, go sledding with the family, or just shovel the walks. You will never be cold again. FortressClothing.com is the answer. Your emergency preparedness solution to the cold. Your solution to working or playing in the cold. Visit us at FortressClothing.com and enter RADIO. Buy now and receive your 20% off discount. You will never be cold again. FortressClothing.com. It could save your life one day.
Americans everywhere are enjoying their Sundays after successfully completing Mother's Day in less than 20 minutes this morning. Dads were able to wrap up breakfast in bed by 9:18 a.m., giving them plenty of time to mill about the garage for the rest of the afternoon. While children who spent a minute and a half this morning hugging their mothers are currently out playing street hockey. And after completely fulfilling their Mother's Day obligations with a store-bought card, teens are now free to leave and spend the day with their friends. The moms, who were quickly and efficiently lavished with cards, flowers, assurances of love, and 7 full minutes of family togetherness, praised the competency with which the holiday was carried out.
Oh, it was great. Charles and the kids made me feel completely appreciated, but they ended the holiday before I even got out of bed. Guess I'll go water the plants now.
But before the day-long celebration concluded early this morning, moms had their own job to do, making a brief, obligatory phone call to their own mothers.
This is the Onion News Network.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phone, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. On Monday, gold is up $10 at $1,234 per ounce. Silver is 10 cents higher at $14.84 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $435 US. Gold had its best month in the past 4 years, and year-to-date is up 17%, which is exactly why you should consider buying silver. Give me a call and I can explain. 800-874-9760 or online at rrbi.co.
You can watch the LRN Studio Cam and chat with other listeners anytime at cam.lrn.fm. That's cam.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Moments remain, but enough time for you if you dial now. 855-450-FREE allows you to join us here. 855-450-3733. Also, disturbing story we're going to share with you from White River Junction, Vermont. Now, Vermont is coming along pretty well in this whole legalization of cannabis. There have been some Senate hearings, I guess, recently, and the
Senate just passed it.
That's right.
Last week.
Yep. And the governor has talked about signing the legislation, so we may see legal cannabis in Vermont very, very soon.
So
good job on Matt Simon, who's just started working in Vermont.
Right. No, he's
been working in Vermont.
He's the regional director for the Marijuana Policy Project. So he's been going to Burlington for about as long as he's been going to Concord.
Oh, wow. I didn't even know
I didn't know he'd been at it that long.
Well, what he changed was he moved physically.
He moved his location so that he would not have to travel as far to go to Burlington, where they're a lot closer at getting legalization.
And Matt Simon, by the way, is an early mover for the Free State Project. He is like the three of us here on the show. He moved to New Hampshire as part of the Free State Project, which you can do as well if you love liberty. If you care about freedom and you want to be more free in your lifetime, come join us as part of the Free State Project. Go to freestateproject.org and also help support Free Talk Live. If you like what we're doing on this show, bringing the ideas of liberty to the airwaves in over 170 radio stations around the country, that's something no one else is doing to the level that we are. If you support what we're doing here, if you support this mission, please go become a Free Talk Live amplifier at amp.freetalklive.com. That's AMP, A-M-P, like advertise, market, and promote, amp.freetalklive.com. You can also visit Rich on his website, invisiblehand.church. And I believe, Rich, you have some contribution options on that site?
Yeah, there's some, or you can go to richpaul.freekeen.com.
And Darryl Perry over at darrylwperry.com. You are not accepting campaign contributions, or are you?
I am, via
Bitcoin only?
Bitcoin, precious metals. If somebody wants to donate an airline ticket, airline miles, I will accept those.
Where do you need to travel next? Where do you need help traveling, I guess, next? Because you've got a couple things laid out. You're leaving this weekend for another convention.
Right. I've got several things laid out. The weekend of April 8th, there's a convention in, I believe it's Fort Walton Beach or West Palm. I'm sorry, West Palm.
The Florida LP.
Down in Florida. It would be great to attend that convention.
So if someone wants to help you, darrylwperry.com.
Yes.
There are ways to do that there. So toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE. Here's a disturbing story that just broke a few days ago. TimesArgus.com is the Barry, Montpelier, Vermont newspaper, apparently. A second grader's tales of how he was helping a farmer grow, quote, special medicine, unquote, plants led to the bust of a large indoor marijuana growing operation in Windsor last week. Stephen Mann, age 54, pleaded innocent Monday in White River Junction Criminal Court to a felony count of cultivating more than 25 marijuana plants. Now, I wonder if this author got this wrong, because most courts you don't plead innocent. You are never found innocent.
You plead not guilty.
Yeah, you plead not guilty and the jury finds you not guilty.
Well,
Generally not
and
innocent.
down in Massachusetts, they do something to where you either plead responsible or not responsible.
But I've never heard someone being able to plead innocent. Anyway, he was facing a felony count of cultivating more than 25 marijuana plants. He was released on a $10,000 unsecured appearance bond. Windsor Police Detective Jennifer Frank wrote in an affidavit that Mann's girlfriend's 8-year-old son told school officials and Frank about Mann's, quote, green thumb, unquote, and how he got to help him grow, quote, special medicine that can cure anything at all. So here you have this dastardly marijuana grower, who's roping his 8-year-old son-in-law basically into this and helping him cultivate this devil's weed. I mean, this is not a terrible thing that has happened here. As far as this guy was growing marijuana, no one was hurt by that act. He was helping teach this kid how to grow the marijuana. Again, not a problem in my mind. This is a valuable skill to know, how to grow marijuana, especially in a place where it may be legal soon. It is already medicinally legal in Vermont and relatively available there as a result of that. So this is a valuable skill to teach a kid, and it's sad because this is why you don't want to send your kids to government school, because even though you think that they understand what's going on and that you've informed them that this is a good thing that you're doing and you shouldn't be ashamed of it, or at least you should keep it quiet, you can't count on an 8-year-old to keep it quiet.
Well, you can't count on an 8-year-old. It helps if you start young in letting kids know that the government is not their friend, that their teacher is not to be trusted, their doctor is not to be trusted, anybody who has a major license from the state is not to be trusted.
Their allegiances lie with the licensee, with the
Exactly. I mean, I remember being suicidal in Florida, and after my wife died, and thinking, well, and basically paying random people to talk to them, because I wasn't going to go tell a shrink that I was feeling suicidal and risk getting thrown in a mental hospital and having my health insurance milked for a couple of years, because I had really good health insurance, and that can be a scary thing under certain circumstances.
And then possibly lose your right to defend yourself.
Yeah, lose your right to defend yourself. Give anybody who has any action against you an opportunity to question your sanity. I mean, people like that are not to be trusted. If they're approved by the government, they shouldn't be approved by you.
Frank said the boy described in detail what sounded to her like marijuana plants, and then added that Mann was giving the plants, quote, to anyone who needs the medicine, unquote. A steady stream of people were phoning and coming to the house frequently, said the boy. In his own confession, according to court records, Man wrote that when officers showed up at his front door on Friday, his girlfriend Leona Hunt, quote, had just taken a hit when they knocked, unquote. Frank noted there was a significant odor of burnt marijuana when she entered the apartment and said man handed over a warm glass pipe the couple appeared to have been using in the same room that the child was in. So again, suggesting that there's some sort of danger to the child by the parents using marijuana in the same house or in the same room, and I'm sorry, there's just not. But
yeah, the impact of secondhand marijuana smoke is negligible.
Probably immeasurable.
I've never seen any study say that there was any impact from it.
They made some mistakes here. There's quite a few mistakes. One was answering the door for the police when they knocked. You don't generally want to answer the door for the police, especially after you've just taken a hit off of a pipe. Probably a bad plan. Then they, a lot of people are very obedient, so they hand the pipe over to the officer. He then confesses. Let me go on with the story here. Police say they found 2 grow rooms next to the child's bedroom, one for starter plants and one for more mature specimens. Police also reported seizing nearly $700 in cash. This guy must have been giving away this marijuana if all he had was $700 in cash. I mean, that's a...
Well, that's exactly what the kid said, isn't it?
Right.
That he was giving it away to anybody who wanted it.
This is nothing. In paraphernalia, including pipes, rolling papers, bags of marijuana, psilocybin mushrooms, bongs, grinders, and digital scales. Man allegedly admitted selling marijuana for $10 a joint or $50 for an eighth of an ounce slice, telling investigators he did 90% of his business in New Hampshire and also gave away some marijuana free to at least one elderly Windsor resident. Police said further charges are expected to be filed against Hunt in connection with the bust. Hunt being the woman, man being the male in the case. Again, they're not married, just boyfriend, girlfriend. Court records say the Department of Children and Families has launched its own investigation, because of the proximity of the child to the alleged illegal drug operation and also to the chemicals that were used. And if by chemicals they mean growing chemicals, then okay. Because I don't know what other chemicals you would need in order to have a marijuana grow operation besides some fertilizer, maybe.
I mean, if you're doing butane hash oil, that's a chemical process, any kind of refinement.
Didn't mention anything about that, though.
No, it doesn't. I didn't hear anything like that in the list.
This guy has no criminal record and will be facing 15 years in prison.
That's horrible.
Yeah. So another...
And Windsor, for people not familiar, it's literally
across the border,
inches from the New Hampshire state line. Like, it's right on the river.
So another mistake here, admitting to selling marijuana. Dude, no matter how stoned you are, don't tell the cops you sell pot. I mean, it's bad if they find you with a bunch of pot, because they can still charge you if you have more than a certain amount. They can charge you with intent to distribute. But if you admit to distributing, you're done for.
Yeah.
At that point.
Don't lie to them. And don't tell them the truth. Just shut up.
Yep.
Don't talk to those people. They're bad.
Damn good advice, Rich. And all so tragic, especially given the fact that Vermont is on the cusp of legalizing this product. Hopefully this guy will actually go to a jury trial, not take a plea, and maybe, if he's convicted, get pardoned later down the line. It's Free Talk Live. We'll see you tomorrow night online at freetalklive.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your get intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market.